sunny afternoon in Melbourne, early in August, and a match between St Kilda and Hawthorn, the co-tenants here at Waverley. A big match for both sides. The Hawks trying to finish off their season. It hasn't been all that bad, and St Kilda being defeated last week, they'll want to hit back. The ball at half forward for the Hawks. Kick forward there by Daniel Chick, wide, and a very awkward bouncing ball up over the top. Big punch by Wakeland. That was Daryl Wakeland. Falls to Tony Brown. Brown's kick, and that could be a free kick to Elliott. No, the umpire says play on. Hassel with the footy. Kicks down towards half forward. The mark taken down here by Crummell. Interesting rubbo. Paul Salmon forward of the ball at this point. There's no doubt he'll be trying to get Peter Everett. Everett's got possession, but Salmon will be trying to make sure Everett plays in defensive 50, not up the other end. Well, a good kick in the finish there by Peter Everett. Hooked the ball across his body.
Yeah, it's going to be very important, Robbo, the clash between Everett and Salmon, and just to see if Salmon plays kick behind who runs with Peter Everett, as Lee spoke about. But Harvey's getting picked up by Shane Crawford, as we thought.
McLaren kicks the ball towards half forward. Very awkward there, low to the ground. It's kicked away by Frode, and that's McCabe with the football taking it over. So the ball at right half forward for St Kilda. They just have to hit back today.
Yes, well, all of a sudden, from being, as we say, a top two team fighting for top position on the ladder, now they're fighting to stay in top four. And Tony Woods is on Nathan Burke, so they'll play one-on-one round the midfield, Hawthorn, and try and win the game from that point of view.
McLaren's kick has been well marked by Harford. Harford did come to the interchange bench, but he swapped very quickly with Barker. Maybe a ploy there by the Hawthorn coaching staff. Now Taylor is going to get run down, but he's able to just slip the tackle there from Heatley and run down the ground even further. Kick into the forward pocket area. Shane Wakeland, back goes Hudgton, and helping out there was Peckett. So both St Kilda boys there would be pleased with that result. Under a little bit of pressure across their full-back line. The Hawks about 15 to 20 metres around from their goal, boundary throw-in.
And Hawthorn are prepared to use Paul Salmon in around the boundary throw-in, Robbo, and leave Peter Everett on his own. But Peter Everett now is moving forward, trying to create option and make it dangerous for Hawthorn to score.
Crawford trying to break clear. Chance now for the Hawks. That kick coming in doesn't register a score. The mark is taken by Young. Young for St Kilda. He's got a player loose. McLaren gets it to Winmar. Winmar's got a bit of space. Two bounces and a third. Good protection. Now the player from Hawthorn coming in, but the kick by Winmar punched away on that half-back line by Robran over for a boundary throw-in.
And Robbo, you can see that St Kilda going very well without Stuart Lowe playing at centre half forward. They looked up forward, couldn't find an option, and they went wide. Hopefully they can direct their play up through the middle of the ground, making it a lot more easier for St Kilda to use the centre corridor.
Well, just an absolutely perfect day, you would think. The conditions here at Waverley spot on for football. A little bit of breeze blowing to the main scoreboard end, and the Hawks going to that end in this first term. There's Nathan Burke. What a Trojan he's been for the St Kilda Football Club. The umpire will bounce here at right half forward.
He's got a pretty hard nut in Woods, though, at Robbo, to challenge him one-on-one all over the ground. So that'll be an interesting clash and could decide the game in the midfield, with Harvey playing on Shane Crawford also.
Well, Woods into the action there, knocking the ball away from Nathan Burke and eventually over for a boundary throw-in. What a talented young man, Tony Woods. He plays the piano and does a bit of writing of music and what have you.
Got a bit of musical flair, hasn't he?
He certainly has, and he's got a bit of flair on the football field. He's just scrounging out quite a number of games now in his AFL career. Harvey gets the hand pass away. Now McLaren, his possession number 5 coming up for Joey McLaren. He hooks the kick. Oh, I think he's a bit fortunate. I don't reckon he looked for Tony Brown, but Brown will go in and kick a behind.
Yes, he had to actually have a look over the left shoulder, McLaren. Not a great field of vision when you're running sort of one direction and hitting it at the right angles, but he certainly found Brown, and Brown had a chance to kick the goal. But yeah, they're not a high percentage play going in that direction.
Very fortuitous, I think, well, you could say that.
The kick in is short, and it's been marked here by Mark Graham. He's had an injury-riddled season, Mark Graham, and I think Hawthorn feel that he's an integral part of their defence. And he goes now with the left foot. his natural kicking foot, and finds Treleaven.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Robbo. Graham has to really lead the Hawthorn defence. Otherwise, Harford's on half-back. He can give them a bit of bounce, but Crowe, Hassel, McCabe and Robin, really, they're just going to be your Dow defenders. So Graham and Harford, they're going to have to be the ones to give them a bit of run up. And a long
free kick all the way down
long way forward of the ball.
Well, we would have had to have sensational peripheral vision to spot
about 100
that.
metres, I reckon. That was forward of the ball. Crummell has got a free kick of V. Wakeland.
That's what the third umpire's for, Robbo.
Well,
to see what we can't see.
I tell you what, it was a great spot, wasn't it? And the resulting free kick has only scored a behind, so...
Just early, Robbo, I think St Kilda's forward line's not dangerous enough. Letting Paul Salmon drop back into that hole. A couple of times they've already gone forward, and they've really struggled to find an option up there. Heatley had trouble leading with Salmon sitting in front of him.
Kick in by Shane Wakeland, finds Young. Young goes wide to Harvey. Harvey, oh gee, that's a good kick. Darryl Wakeland to Peckett. Peckett, the Wakeland boys have done the right thing today. One's got long sleeves, the other one's got short sleeves, so we've got some chance. But this is a distinctive Andrew Thompson who kicks it in short, and that's a free kick against McCabe. It's going to be awarded to Mitchell.
And this is where they do struggle, Robbo. Just in their forward line there, there's not a definite, marking player with Stewie Lowe not there, taking generally eight marks a game. So they just struggle to find options just down the last line of the forward line.
Short pass by Mitchell is good. It's all very well to kick the ball and hit the target, but the leads are important too, and that was a good one by Heatley.
He actually just kept moving till he eventually found the hole, and I guess a full forward leads once, the fullback got a chance of going with him, but if he goes a second or third time, it's very hard for the fullback to stay within arm's reach, and he dropped Graham off pretty comfortably.
It's a real thing you've got to really practice at training too. First option, then go again, work at it until you get space in your own forward line.
Well, I think we've come to expect Jason Heatley to kick goals like this. He's about 40 metres out directly in front, and he kicks truly. St Kilda have got the first goal on the scoreboard.
Yes, he really does have a beautiful kicking action, Jason Heatley. You catch, but anyone who can sort of just run in and kick the ball, just perfect balance. I reckon it's one of the greatest sights in footy. He's just so balanced, Heatley, terrific follow through. Great kick.
A lot of people get the fear of the goalpost, don't they? The goalpost pressure, they get there, like they can kick beautifully in through the midfield, but as soon as they get to the goals, they seem to panic, and he's got a beautiful action, hasn't he?
He doesn't try and
doesn't panic, doesn't kick it, keeps his head over the ball, beautiful.
So the umpire, to restart play back in the middle, Woods takes the tap down from Salmon, and that's a good mark taken there by Darryl Wakeland at halfback. Hutchton, yeah, that was a little overzealous, but wasn't. Harvey's hand pass, terrific. Got the ball down to Campbell. St Kilda right into attack now at half forward. Everett trying to get into the play. Elliott tries to crash his way through, carrying the ball in front of him. Not all that successful. Through goes Hassel, but the ball finishes with Everett. Everett gets his left foot to it. A chance here for Hawthorn maybe to clear. Oh, good hand pass out wide. Goes to Crowe. Then to Harford in the middle of the ground. He can go down the field. He's had two bounces. Then a rather ordinary kick by AFL standards. Gathered here by Lord. Shot for goal. Hawks have got there first. Good snapshot in the finish by Aaron Lord to kick his first and Hawthorn's first goal.
I thought it was a good choice by Crowe at halfback, actually. When he actually received the hand pass off Treleaven, he looked outside, but he saw Harford coming straight up the middle of the ground, and as soon as that was it, he brought it back inside, and then Harford was a shocking kicker. He really didn't know which option to go to, kick the ball poorly. He's an important player for Hawthorn, I think, Aaron Lloyd. He can have his bad days, but on his good days, he can kick his 4 goals, which is not an easy task.
He's been a good pick-up for Hawthorn, being from Geelong originally, but he can kick his 2 or 3 or 4 goals. He's very dangerous and can kick them in about 5 or 10 minutes time.
And I think Carlton might remember that he played a fair game in a final out here, Couchy. I don't know whether you were in that game, were you? Were you the last one?
He was the last minute of the draw, one of the game.
with 2 of the other stars.
That's right, no Bairstow, no Couch, no worries or something like that it was.
Was it? Yeah, well, we'll get back to St Kilda versus Hawthorn, where the ball is on Hawthorn's half-forward line, and Shane Wakeland there, number 12.
You're talking about concussion though. I had concussion the week before and I was very spacey till Thursday, and I found it very hard to actually know what I was about. It's very dangerous for people to get concussion and play the next week, Robert.
Fair enough. Harford gets the hand pass away. And good tackle by Nathan Burke on Woods. That battle is going to be tremendous. Robert Harvey gets his foot to the ball. Gathered there by Thompson. Handball back to Harvey. He didn't stay on the ground long, Robert Harvey, did he? He was up after it again to try and create an opportunity for his team. Hand passed away by Trelevin. Gathered there by Barker. Barker's kick is over on the full, is it? May have been touched. Off the boot, perhaps, or just inside the boundary lines?
I think it's just off the boot, Robert, but isn't it beautiful balance by Robert Harvey then to keep his feet all the way while he's getting tackled and just to get the ball forward and receive it again?
I guess that balance, he sort of, no, it sounds a bit silly, but he keeps his hips directly over his legs. He's always got terrific upward motion. Never looks like he's splay-legged at all, and terrific runner. And actually that Crawford and Harvey are being plotted today by Pineapple Head just to see how far they run. I think they're the premier long-distance runners of all the midfielders, and looks like Crawford is actually getting a kick, is he? I think that duel will be just fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic.
The umpire then was going to pay advantage. Paul Salmon could see, oh, I'm not going to play advantage because I can't get this ball. He let it go and the umpire took it back and has given it to the Hawks. And they've got the ball. Yes, it was. It was terrific reading of the play by the big man. Winmar's well tackled out there by Lekas. Lekas has been a terrific player for Hawthorn throughout this year, but on this occasion the umpire deems that as illegal, so the free kick will come back, looks like, to Nicky Winmar.
Just getting back on Harvey though, Lee, like you really appreciate, under pressure, a league player just using his balance and not falling over like he does. That is very unique what he did just on that boundary line.
And he does wear moulded soles all the time, never wears screw-ins, but still able to maintain his balance, which I guess proves that the balance is a bit more important than the sole on the boot, I suspect, when it's all boiled down. I've got to tell you, early in this game, I quite like what Hawthorn's setup is. They've got Lekas on Winmar, they've got Woods on Burke, Crawford, Harvey, Trelevin, Brown, and all of a sudden, as long as Everett doesn't become a real positive influence forward, I reckon, Hawthorn have got every chance in this game. It's really going to be a great contest.
It's going to be an even game, Lee. I really believe in that because St Kilda haven't really cracked the game open early like you thought they would be after getting beaten by Adelaide, so Hawthorn are really in the contest.
Harford with the football in the middle of the ground, around onto his left foot. That's a better kick by Daniel Harford towards centre half forward. Wakeland just knocking the ball away. The umpire deems it maybe as unfair over the top there. So the free kick will go back to Darryl Wakeland. He's between fullback and centre half back. Kicks it out wide. Everett on his own can run forward and then kicks towards the half forward area. Elliott, but well knocked away there by Crode. He had big raps on him, that young fellow, coming from the under-18s last year, and he's done very well in his first year.
Robbo, at Waverley, we used to struggle here at Waverley all the time, Geelong, and we used two centre-half forwards because we felt the ground was too big.
Too big for one.
So we had two marking options across the forward line. Now you see Elliott struggling to get there. Like you might go inboard and have another tall marking player like Sirikowski at the centre-half forward.
Well, presently, Sirikowski on the bench. Go forward here, the Hawks. That's a great flying shot at goal
by Dixon. He's actually the most likely, I suspect, of the Hawthorn players to get multiple goals these days. Nick Holland at centre half forward is going to be important because really he's Hawthorn's only marking option in the forward line. Crumble, I guess, is a medium-sized bloke who can mark a bit, but Dixon has been a bit of a goal kicker for Hawthorn, so his contribution will be important. Kicked 27 goals this year.
Shane Wakeland with the football in the left back pocket. Still the sun shining brightly here at Waverley. Kick in the direction of Peter Everett. It's gathered here by Thompson. Thompson off the left foot. Kicks to a vacant area at half forward. At the feet there of Cook. And providing the pressure there was Barker. And he forces it over for a throw-in. Cook maybe looking at the umpire appealingly for a free kick.
Yeah, Robert, at centre half forward again, I think St Kilda are really struggling on this line, this half forward line. They can't seem to get it through, and Crode's doing a good job on Elliott. They don't look dangerous enough, so I reckon it's going to be an even game. And Hawthorn, if they can sneak a couple, as Lee said, it's going to be an even contest.
It's interesting at the moment. Spider Everett is content to work midfield and centre half back line when he's trying to charge forward after delivering the ball in. But Salmon's certainly getting there early.
Well, interesting one there. Cook definitely went off the line. The umpire called play on, and then he was nabbed from behind. So the chances here for Crawford. And his flying shot at goal might bounce through for a goal.
Intercepted by Lloyd on the way.
Lord kicked it, did he?
Yeah, he actually marked in the goal square.
Well,
yes.
Hawthorn lead by 7 points.
Well, body language is a amazing thing, Couchy. I take a lot of notice of it, I reckon, the first 5 minutes of the game. I reckon it's all with Hawthorn. They've got demolished last week, St Kilda, by the Crows, and they've certainly not come out like a team that is stung by that big loss. Just at the moment, this early part of the game is most definitely going Hawthorn's way.
And if you look at both forward lines, St Kilda have got to kick more goals than Hawthorn. You've got to try and kick them. And Salmon dropping back all the time. You'd rather Everett go with him and drag him out of the play and get Heatley one-on-one with his play.
Well, Aaron Lord has kicked Hawthorn's 2 goals. Jason Heatley has kicked the goal for St Kilda. Knocked clear by McCabe. Crawford, that's Shane Crawford. His left foot kick into the pocket. Well done by Nick Holland, just to provide a contest. Harvey bumped off the ball. Peckett kicks it off the ground. Gets nearly to half forward. Elliott leaves the ball for McLaren. McLaren doing well on his wing. Kicks towards the full forward area. That's not a mark, it's a free kick to Barker.
Robbo, that was a very soft free kick. I didn't think there was much in that. I don't think Barker got touched at all.
Well, he's prepared to play on across the front of the defending square. Kicks out towards halfback. St Kilda outnumber here. Burke to Winmar. Winmar short, all right too. And the mark is taken by Zilla. Zilla was a goal kicker earlier this year, I think against the Swans, that he kicked quite a few goals.
Now Everett's got back.
Looked a certainty and made it a certainty. Had the ability to recover and kick the goal.
Well, that's what Peter Everett makes him the most dangerous. His ruck work in the middle of the ground can be reasonable at times, but I don't think it's consistently good. But that ability just to be the extra marking option up forward, he snuck into the goal square by himself. Salmon got
he was up in the midfield.
Got stuck up in the midfield. I think he might have sneaked round behind him, did Big Spider. But that is exactly the kind of play St Kilda would like to be repeated on many occasions today.
You can't sneak around with hair like that, Lee.
Our umpires for today's game, David Howlett, Vince Serchier and Tim Shearer.
You got that out, Robbo?
Well, I guess that there'll be a few people that are prepared to correct me, Couchy, but we'll stick with Vince Serchier at this stage. Serchier, we've been told. Shane Crawford kicks towards full forward. The ball spills to the back. The Hawks will get a goal. Aaron Lord's kick 3.
Yes, as we've pointed out, he can kick 3 or 4 goals in quick succession, Aaron Lord, and he's been a great pickup for Hawthorn. Kicked a lot of multiple goals for Hawthorn during this year and last year, and clever play. He's got good skills, Aaron Lord, when he gets on his own. Didn't panic with the ball, kept his feet.
But he got a SP, Couch. You said he kicks him in patches, but he does have that tendency, you think, to kick those 2 or 3 goals in a little short few minutes of play.
He does, Lee. I think he's very dangerous.
Well, 3 goals in the first quarter. Certainly a danger for St Kilda. Aaron Lord. Hawks lead. They've kicked 3 goals, 2. St Kilda are 2 goals, 1. Hassel. Well, Shane Crawford was in all sorts of strife, wasn't he, when that hand pass was given to him.
High tackle. He got
the umpire.
I think the umpire forward of the play, David Howlett, actually saw the high contact.
Shane Crawford.
A man for all seasons. 9.
Well, fair enough. 9 possessions. 10th possession coming up, playing on Robert Harvey, who's had 6.
That's the difference, isn't it? Paul Salmon got 2 hands on the mark, but couldn't hold it. The pressure's on immediately on Cook. If he happens to hold the mark, game of inches.
Brown to Harvey. Harvey wider still to Peckett. Peckett gives the hand pass there to Sirakowski. Back to Peckett. Look at Sirakowski just protecting the player with the ball. Fantastic shepherding. If this gets a goal, they ought to give David Sirakowski some credit. The kick falls short and it's well marked. Very well marked by Lekas. Going back with the flight of the ball.
And I think St Kilda Brains Trust have picked pretty quickly what you did earlier, Couchy, that they're not much across their half-forward line, and Sirakowski has actually came on to try and bolster up that part of the ground.
Trelevin kicked the ball back. Woods is well tackled. Ball spills there for Daryl Wakeland. His tap on Well, not really all that effective, but the umpire sees a free kick here to Nathan Burke. Maybe a tackle too high in that scrimmage of players. And Nathan Burke very much an in and under. Coming up for his first kick, he's had 2 hand passes. His first kick goes left, out wide, at the feet there of Heatley. He was advantaged by the bounce, made it good. Kicks to his forward 50. Crawford gets rid of Harvey and then hacks it away over for a throw in about 55, 65 metres around from the St Kilda goal.
Actually, Shane Crawford bodied out Robert Harvey. You don't see that too often. Used his body beautifully on him. And as he did against James Hurd here this year, he did very well body to body on a bigger opponent.
He played here on not the first round, but the first part of the season last year. Crawford played on Harvey. It's the only time I can recall seeing a player outrun Robert Harvey. So I'm really looking forward to see how that duel develops between those two terrific athletic footballers.
Well, some good play there at the back by Shane Wakeland to get it to Cook in turn to Winmar. Winmar's 50 metres out, lovely kick. Wasn't that a good kick by Winmar onto the chest of Jason Heatley?
Just didn't panic, Robbo, just assessed his options, and Heatley, who's a very good player on the lead, generally gets 2 or 3 yards in front of his opposing backman, and did a great job there against Mark Graham. Heatley's a very good kick, and with that, I'm not going to put the moz on him, but I think he's just so well balanced that anywhere around, just inside the boundary, he's a chance to kick it.
I've got a feeling this is a difficult pocket. The breeze seems to be blowing basically from Jason Heatley's left across the front of his body there, so it'd be interesting to see how he can keep the ball on line just in this kick. Good shot of it to show us how he does it.
Oh, this is a great kick.
The wind just grabbed it.
Yeah.
The wind was always going to take the ball from left to right, and he just didn't quite start it out far enough left.
He's a beautiful balanced kick. Like that didn't miss by much, did it? Didn't miss by 5 or 10 metres, and only missed by a metre. And you know, you got a forward like that, you got a good chance of kicking scores, as Jason Dunster would very rarely miss himself. So beautifully balanced.
Hawthorn lead by a goal. The kick in by Trelevin, straight down the ground basically. Cook nearly took the mark. Well, I don't think he was paid the mark. The umpire may be indicating that he was held by the jumper after he went for the marking attempt. The short kick has been marked by McLaren. Now McLaren coming up for his 6th kick in this first quarter, and he'll kick it deep into attack. About 35. Oh, Spider. Too tall, wasn't he there?
I think the umpire, it's interesting, John Barker, is actually Everett's direct opponent down there now as a permanent defender, and I got a feeling there was some pretty good blocking as the ball was coming forward. Barker got caught a long way behind Everett. For a defender against a forward, it's a big gap to develop in mid-air.
They look a better setup though, with Everett going down in the forward pocket and Cook staying on Salmon.
Everett, similar shot at goal to the previous one by Jason Heatley, and similar result. He hooked the kick on this occasion, scored a behind.
It's taken a couple of shots. I think very quickly every player on the ground should be realising where the wind is going to push the ball down that into the ground. Got to start at a fair bit left of the goals if you want to end up getting them through.
Actually, our rule was never the first one, always go for the middle of the goals, then you can judge whether it's going left or right. Lee, you're very correct.
McCabe to Harford. Harford wider still to Woods. Good tackle by Thompson. The ball held in and it's deemed as a throw. Well done, Andrew Thompson.
Good tackling. He's very important to the St Kilda side, I reckon, Thompson, partly because of that ability to chase and tackle and pressure and keep the ball in the area, and he certainly got rewarded for that work ethic just then.
Well, he's going in the direction of Everett. Everett up high, he's got it.
Well, Jonathan Robin came off the field and John Barker was gone on there. I'd be getting Jonathan Robin back on to play on Everett. Quick, smart. I don't know
it was a blood
rule. Was a blood rule,
yeah,
was it? Well, I'd be getting
rule,
him back on ASAP because I think Barker just not big enough, strong enough to play as a defender on Everett, who does play almost like a very tall full forward. It's not so much that he just outreaches his defensive opponent. He actually leads for the ball as a full forward would, and even though he's so big, moves very quickly to position.
Study of concentration. His efforts for his 2nd goal. Looks pretty good. You'd feel he's got it. Everett's kick 2, and the Saints get their 3rd and wrench away the lead from the Hawks. They lead 21-20.
was interesting last week. Everett, when he went forward, Sean Wren went with him and played just wherever he went. Today, Hawthorn decided that Salmon will stay in the midfield. Yes, I think the Barker Everett, it was Rawlings has come on actually to play on Everett, but unless Rodman is still forced to be off with the blood rule, I reckon he's the one who should be back there.
He's a pretty tough customer.
So St Kilda lead this game with 3 minutes left in the first term by the barest margin, just behind Robert Harvey to kick them forward once again. A good mark taken down here in front of us by Trelevin. Just maybe the carry of the ball favouring Craig Trelevin, but he did it well and then kicks it out wide towards the wing in the direction there of Justin Crawford. Knocked away by Campbell for a boundary throw-in.
And we'll keep you updated on this Harvey Crawford duel. At the moment, Crawford has had 11 possessions, would you believe? Harvey's had 8. So we're not talking about a real tagging job here. We're talking about two players who, in a way, are just going to take each other on.
Underneath all that was Zilla. Tried to get the hand pass to Burke, but he was absolutely surrounded. Tony Woods and Justin Crawford.
The one change there is that at the starting points, as we can see, Crawford will go and stand with Harvey when the ball's in a neutral position, but then try and run off if Hawthorn gain possession.
Big punch there by Darryl Wakeland. Richard Taylor just harassed there by Campbell.
Hit his boot.
It's going... I thought Richard Taylor may have thought it was his kick then.
No, it came off his boot, Robbo.
Came off his boot?
On his boot, yeah.
Well, it's Campbell that's going to kick St Kilda into attack. He's right in the middle of the players' interchange area. The short kick. Looks for Heatley. He got his hands on it. Tony Brown away to Harvey. Back to Campbell. Campbell, little hand pass, intercepted. Very well done there for Hawthorn by Mark Graham. Now Cook's handball. Sets it up for Brown. Brown across the half-forward line, and he's got it again, the big spider.
He's a very intelligent player, as Lee pointed out. He's a very good forward leading player, but he leads to the right space at the right time. He doesn't lead early. He waits till the bloke's well balanced, as Tony Brown was. Then he leads and takes off, and he gets that 2-metre break on him. And Brown kicks out into space beautifully, makes his own time to the ball, Everett, and it was a good mark. Easy
Same spot
work.
as he had the other shot. He should know where the wind's going to push it.
Well, we could have two players with 3 goals apiece in this first quarter. Aaron Lord, 3 for the Hawks. The Spiders got 3 for the Saints.
And those locks are working well.
Well, listen, no doubt all of a sudden, I mean, Heatley and Everett, they're going to be the dangerous forwards for St Kilda. Heatley's had a shot, kicked 1 goal, and actually had another shot that he missed. So between them, they've had I think 6 shots at goal, and Everett, the last 3 goals, as we mentioned before, I'm sure Jonathan Rodman, they're on the phone asking where is he? Is he available to go back on?
He might have done the disappearing act. It might be such a bad idea, actually, the way Peter Everett's going. 3 goals, and we've got 1.5 minutes left in the term. Trelevin kicks the Hawks up towards full forward. At the back, Lord. Can he keep it in? No, he can't. Chick. He may have run over, I think, Aaron Lord with the football.
Robbo, just with St Kilda's forward line now, in the first 20 minutes, they look a lot better set up with Peter Everett playing in the full forward. Sirikowski gets in half forward, and they look more dangerous about kicking goals. The first 10 or 15 minutes, they didn't look like they were going to kick a goal with Salmon playing one-on-one with Everett.
He's had 9 possessions, Everett, 8 kicks, 1 handball. It's a high stats game for a big ruckman who spent half the time in the full forward line.
Well, have a look at that pack of players. About 8 of them around the footy there. The umpire, not much option there, but to bounce.
And I guess he used to have about 25 or 28 possessions of full forward some days.
Yeah.
16.
He was a little unusual, though, wasn't he?
He's not the average player we're talking about here, Gary.
Salmon goes for goal and has just missed.
Isn't that the difference? He grabbed the ball out of the air, Salmon, and missed the goal. Okay, it missed. If that had gone through, we saw that previous mark earlier in the quarter where he just got both hands to it but didn't quite control it. Now Everett's gone down the other end and become a really dangerous goal-kicking option. Salmon will be looking to do that for Hawthorn, I suspect.
Crummell does well to put the pressure on Hudgton. Now the opportunity for Richard Taylor to kick Hawthorn to the front of the goal. Oh, brave stuff. VC stuff there by Nathan Burke, standing his ground, marking safely on his chest, right in front of the goal at which he is defending, out wide to Winmar. We're down in the last minute of the first quarter. Winmar's short kick has been marked by Brown. Brown 7 possessions. His kick goes out wide. Not quite marking the ball there was Mitchell. Getting back to help the defence, there was Hassel. to Leckus. Leckus across his body. Winmar couldn't take the mark. Trelevin looking for the free kick and well umpired there, because the umpire, I think the finish is going to penalise
He
Winmar.
deemed that Winmar had actually dived on the ball and pulled it back in, which I think he probably did. The question was, I guess, was he being tackled, or was it just a pack of players lying on the ball? But certainly as this game has gone, they got home the second half of the quarter. Okay,
St Kilda, yeah.
St Kilda, but certainly in the first part of it, Hawthorn had the ascendancy, so it's been a good game. I think it will be for most of the duration.
I think St Kilda are prepared to lose the ruck in and around the ground to use Everett up forward. I think they're going to concede that with their good players and Harvey and Burke around the midfield.
Well, as we go to the quarter time break, St Kilda 4-3, lead Hawthorn 3-3.
So the second quarter about to start here at Waverley. St Kilda hold an advantage. It's just a bare one goal, thanks to the efforts of Peter Everett, who kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. Aaron Lord kicked 3 goals for the Hawks in the first term. Trying to break away there from Shane Crawford was Nathan Burke.
And the Hawthorn supporters, I'm sure, should be happy that the medical staff have got Jonathan Robin's blood flow stemmed, and he's back on Peter Everett, and Everett have started forward again. So really it's going to be interesting. They're going to use Everett as a goal kicker, but this gives Salmon the chance to really dominate the ruck work against Brett Cook.
Well done there by Campbell, just to keep the pressure on and force that kick to, pretty well be ineffective. Robert Harvey goes short, and Zilla not able to mark.
I don't think you'd actually concede with Cook playing on Salmon, but with, you've got Burke and Harvey there, like you're happy to concede the ruck work, I suppose, and Everett going to be dangerous in the forward line. And as you called it, Lee, Robin is picking up Everett, who's a pretty tough nut.
That's the great thing about Everett, though, isn't it? That the choice is, where do we use him? Sometimes they can use him in the ruck. If that's not working, or you need him up as a marking forward, well, they can do that as well. That's the great string to his bow.
Well, Nick Holland's had a bit of trouble getting into this game. He gets a kick here and puts it onto the chest of Aaron Lord, who has marked certainly within scoring distance. And Nick Holland, that was his first kick early in the second quarter.
He's not a big possession winner. I've seen him in games where he doesn't get a lot of the ball.
He has to mark it, doesn't he? And Max Hudson is been a very, very good defender in the couple of years he's been at St Kilda.
Well, you tipped Aaron Lord to be the goal kicker, Couchy, early. He's missed on this occasion. 3 goals, 1 against his name. And still looks as though he's going to be a danger for St Kilda if they can get the ball into that area.
And you saw the wind there, just push it to the right, as Lee spoke about. Left, you've got to go more for the left-hand goalpost, push it right across to the right-hand goalpost and missed.
Matthew Young to kick in and pinpoints his teammate out there in Campbell. Campbell gets it to Harvey. Harvey backs himself and runs from the full-back area through the half-back line. His kick lands close to the wing. It's gathered by Crode. Crode for the Hawks stands and delivers back towards the middle of the ground. The bounce is a bit awkward, but it's not awkward for Robert Harvey. Handballs into the path of his teammate Nathan Burke. He's probably chopped off there by Leckus, which sets it up for Harvey's immediate opponent Crawford. Crawford into the pocket, and a good mark, good strong mark taken by Nick Holland. About 35 metres out on a difficult angle.
No scoring comes from that rebound. The Crawford pressure on Harvey made the hand pass not a really good one, or not a really constructive one. And then when Crawford run the ball back on the rebound, all of St Kilda defenders weren't quite tight enough. They were on the way out. Gave Holland the chance.
Good look at what Nick Holland is confronted with. He does it nicely. He's kicked a goal. Hawthorn have kicked their 4th goal, and early in the second term the Hawks lead by a point.
Well, one has to say, I think his natural kicking action has probably countered the wind there, because the ball was actually going, if Heatley had Everett kicked it earlier, the ball would have actually drifted through for a behind. But Holland, good mark here, good for his confidence just to have a jump at the ball, got Wakeland out of position, but the ball just came back. The little in swing with the kicking action. Oh, yes, the umpire's seen that one, and we saw it. A terrific view of it that the cameras got for us. I don't think most spectators saw that happen.
Free kick to Nick Holland against Max Hudson. Holland kicks in towards full forward. The ball spills to the back of the pack. Harvey covers terrific territory. Kicked away there by Darryl Wakeland in the area of Everett. Justin Crawford leaves it for Taylor. Taylor's snapshot for goal, and the Hawks have got 2 in a minute.
And just the pressure of Hawthorn provided the 2 turnovers and 2 goals resulted in, and we spoke about tackles before. Hawthorn had 14 tackles in the first quarter to St Kilda's 4, and generally if the side's prepared to work, luck seems to come your way. No, well, not luck. The harder you work, the luckier you get, I suppose, but it was just work here. Just pressure by Chick there on Wakeland. Everett not quite up to it at mark, and Taylor with a great right foot snap goal. And just pressure around makes it very difficult to get out of their forward zone. Forwards are working hard for Hawthorn, and goals result.
Well, there's been a double change. Chris Obst has come on for Jonathan Robran, who's left the ground once again. And Beveridge is on for St Kilda. Didn't quite see who came off, but we'll check that out for you and bring you up to date.
It's disappointing with the blood rule, isn't it? Like, you've got an important player like Robran who's got to be matched up on Everett when he goes forward, and he could be on and off the ground all day. It just upsets your whole routine, the blood rule.
There is Jonathan Robran with the bandage around his head. Number 10, Scott McGuinness, the runner, who was a premiership player for the Hawks, running for the Hawthorn coach Ken Judge. And the kick there at the feet of Zilla. Zilla didn't do such a bad job. It could have probably clean bowled him. He did at least block it, half it eventually coming in to hold the footy up on centre wing. Stephen Zilla, number 19 for St Kilda. Had a few anxious moments earlier in the year when his wife was having a baby, and he elected to omit himself, I guess, from the St Kilda side because he hadn't had any sleep whatsoever in the lead up to the weekend's match. Well done by Max Hudson there, just body work to clear the ball for a boundary throw-in.
And they've pushed Everett down into the ruck duels with Salmon just to use it. Salmon was getting a little bit of the ball the first couple of minutes, so they decided to use him up there and use Heatley one out. And he's the only bloke from the centre onwards to the full forward line for St Kilda.
Everett's got the football. Johnny Hassel's just stymieing his attempts to clear that football area there, as we have another look there at a despondent Jonathan Robran. The medical staff at quarter time worked feverishly to try and patch him up and get him back on the ground. Crawford's kick forward, knocked away there by Shane Wakeland, gathered here by Chick, snapshot by Chick. By Chick, it's a good kick. Isn't that a magnificent goal by Daniel Chick?
No, the umpire played a push against Lord. It was a sort of push-type shepherd on the goal line. Certainly we see a lot of heavy contact on the goal line as the ball is being shepherded through. The umpire, I think, thought that was in the back, so goal went wasted then by Hawthorn.
Matthew Young took the kick from Peckett, absolutely went straight through the defence there of Max Hudson. Kick forward by Lekis, a little bit too far, it's out on the full.
I think Lee used his hands instead of using his body. I think that was the reason why he got the free kick against him.
Once again, the football with Matthew Young. He's a good kick of the ball. He pinpoints his teammate. This is McLaren running through the centre-half back region. Kicks it out to Everett. Gee, what the height advantage there over Richard Taylor. He's looking to play on. He probably will now. McLaren's made good position, but he ignores that player and goes towards half forward. The contest there looked as though it may have been a free kick. It's kicked back by Trent Crowe, but marked by Everett once again. Everett short, trapped by Tony Brown. He had plenty of time to recover his situation, then get the hand pass away to Shane Wakeland. His kick has been well marked by Hassel.
Yes, it was. He gave it the fight of the ball, Hassel, but it was a good turnover.
The goal kicking forward, Aaron Lord now defending for the Hawks. Gets it to half forward. Taken by Holland. He can kick a goal, Nick Holland. And it comes back, but not far enough. He scored it behind.
Could have gone a bit further, I think, Holland. He broke the 50-metre line, probably got to 45 metres, but with open space in front of him, I think that's the times you've really got to take the punt and try and get a fair bit closer to goal, make the percentages much more in your favour.
Kick in marked by Hudson. Hudson can go to Everett. Everett is playing a very good game of football. One remembers that he's kicked 3 goals. Away to Peckett, running a long way down from his position across the full back line. Kicks into the pocket, looks for Nicky Winmar. The kick just a little bit too far for that player, and it trundles over for a boundary throw-in.
And St Kilda really didn't have anybody in the full forward line there to kick the ball to. Heatley had led out to the 50-metre arc, and there was no one there to kick to. carving the boundary. Nicky Winmar's run from the wing across, but led to the forward pocket, making it very difficult to square the ball up. Probably should have ran to the top of the goal square. He made an option there for the St Kilda player.
And interesting here, we're going to have Sierakowski competing against Sam in the ruck work, and Everett's almost trying to rove it from the front spot. Oh, Crode. Crone, a young player, Crode, only his first year of league football, but I think sometimes in defence he does tend, I think, to panic a little bit. Just kick the ball a bit too quickly. Even coming out of defence, you've got to try and hold on to the ball, risk being tackled sometimes, to try and set it up on the way out.
So again, we see Salmon and Sierakowski. Crawford, handball away. Coming away was Obst. His kick goes outside the defensive 50. Leading in the race for the ball is Winmar. Looks to get the hand pass off. Succeeds in doing so. The player in support there was Elliott. He gets back onto the football and does well for a big fellow. Into the path of Matthew Young. Watch this pass, pinpointed by Young towards full forward. Sierakowski, the kick was a little high for that player. Gathered here by McCabe. He goes very wide, out in front of McLaren, who probably would be happy to see it over. His endeavours looked as though he was trying to keep it in, but it was going to be difficult all the time there for Joe McLaren. And it will be thrown in between wing and right half forward, favouring the St Kilda side.
You're right about players panicking when they get clear lead. Like, how many people do you see get caught from behind?
Yeah,
like, you should be able to balance.
Yeah, the punch you got to take sometimes.
You can't afford. You rather the bloke use the ball properly. I'd rather him get it tackled than lose the ball than a turnover too quickly.
Well, the Hawks having a bit of trouble trying to clear that area now. Treleven's kick off the side of his boot a little bit. An awkward bouncing ball. Crawford. In hard went Campbell. He was a little overzealous. Gave the free kick away. The advantage with the Hawks. Tony Woods to half forward. The mark taken by Chick. Daniel Chick quickly on towards full forward. Jumping too early. That should have been a free kick against Crummell. Lord's got 4. That is ridiculous.
Well, the rule is simply that the player jumping is jumping at the ball, and as we hear John Russo say over and over again, making a realistic attempt to mark the ball. And certainly here we see Crawford. We'll be able to watch it through. Woods, the big kick forward. Let's have a look with Holland's jump. Is this a realistic attempt? Not this one. It's the next one from Chick. He certainly went early. Let's have a look. Is this realistic?
No.
Well, ended up unrealistic.
I think Aaron Law he kicked the goal. He was wondering whether there's going to be a free kick back to the St Kilda player. Then he really wasn't.
I think he wanted to quick it quickly.
And the umpire's coach in the room is a little bemused, but we won't give him up right now. And it certainly was a decision that will be questioned. At the moment, Hawthorn lead 6-5 to 4-3. It's been a very, very competitive game by both sides. The Hawks taking it right up to St Kilda. St Kilda, after their bad defeat last week, are really striving to turn it all around. Everett doing the ruck work. Shane Crawford, now Daniel Chick. He missed it altogether. He got it the second time, kicked it forward. At centre half back is Elliott. Elliott with the right boot. Tries a check side. Mitchell can't get into the game. He's just knocked off the football. McCabe was terrific. McCabe's kick towards full forward. Holland. At the back was Wakeland. Justin Crawford dragged off the ball. Hand pass forward by Hassel. In goes Justin Crawford again. What can he do? He kicks it across the face of goal and puts it on the chest of Winmar.
Didn't think their way through that well, Hawthorn. Then from the time they won possession in midfield, really, I don't think they used the right options any times. And eventually it's okay to send the ball to the front of the goal square, but not if an opposition player is sitting underneath it, as Winmar was.
Winmar in the back pocket decides to go long and kicks it about 55 metres in the direction of Everett. Gathered there by Lekis. Everett again, but Sierakowski had nowhere to go. Eventually, that didn't even look as though it was a legal hand pass. Robin tackle. Ball spills now for Obst. He's done a pretty good job since coming on the ground a few minutes ago. The kick to half forward. Mopped up here by Matthew Young. His hand pass is good. Finds Winmar. Winmar, the short kick to a one-on-one. Sierakowski couldn't take the mark, but it's been paid. Gee, didn't hold that very long either. And Crode looking just a little concerned there at the ease with which David Sierakowski was awarded that mark.
Just looking at Nicky Winmar, he looks very, very tired. Doesn't seem to have the stamina and quickness he used to have in years gone by.
Crawford
just seems to be struggling a bit, getting over the ground, Robbo.
Really being run hard and long and quick as well.
with Leckis on him, he's got a pretty hard player on him.
Well, Shane Crawford's doing a good job on Robert Harvey. 13 possessions to Robert Harvey, 15 possessions to Shane Crawford. Johnny Hassel, handball away, Harford, back to Crawford, possession number 16 for Crawford. It's all right too, Chick. Coming into the play in the last few minutes, Daniel Chick. Kicks towards full forward, good mark, taken by Dixon. Dixon's been a goal kicker this year, off the left foot, goes long to the square, getting back, Nick Holland. Gee, they're running St Kilda ragged in this last 6 or 7 minutes.
Well, this duel between Harvey and Crawford is terrific. They're both getting plenty of the ball. 16 possessions to Crawford early in the second quarter, halfway through the second quarter, and 13 to Harvey. I don't know whether either of them are actually dominating the game in terms of what they're doing with the ball, but gee, there's a lot of the ball for two blokes who are opposed to each other, and they'd be running plenty of space. Hawthorn doing well now.
Nick Holland going for his second. Didn't he do that with a lot of smartness? Ran to the right to improve the angle, and he's kicked his second and Hawthorn's seventh.
Well, yeah, interesting game this. Well, I can tell you, Couchy, I'd pick St Kilda, but I'd like to jump off. Because I reckon the way this game has gone for a quarter or a half, Hawthorn just looked the better team. I mean, St Kilda really are only now a shadow of the team that was vying for top position before Stuart Lowe got suspended now 3 weeks ago.
Well, I think, Lee, where they've really fallen down is in Stewie Lowe's position at centre forward. They get the ball to the half-back line, go to the centre line. It seems to stop at centre forward, and they haven't got a pass there too often in the second quarter.
Well, the Hawks lead by 20 points. As Lee mentioned, we're past the halfway mark of the second quarter, and it really is necessary now for St Kilda to get a quick goal. And that could be deemed as throwing it, isn't it, by Surakowski trying to get it to Everett. It's been allowed to go on, so Everett spinning away, kicks the ball up towards Heatley, knocked to the front, back goes Salmon. Doesn't he work hard? Gets it down to Graham, Graham off the left boot, kicks it long, Everett, good mark, excellent mark taken by McCabe.
He's not a bad player, Robbo, this kid. And a beautiful user of the ball too.
Very much an improver. Richard Taylor gathers, he's on centre wing, looks towards centre half forward, coming out strongly is Shane Wakeland, marking on his chest. He'll transfer play to the half-back flank. Oh, there's a risk, a big risk now. Nick Holland falling and probably advantage Daniel Harford. Back to Holland. So they've played that pretty well in the finish. 2 on 2. They've still got the footy. Nick Holland into the pocket. Out in front is Lord. Shrugs the tackle. Just couldn't quite get an effective boot on the ball. They're in strife though. Campbell tackled hard. Ball spills out wide. Now clean bowls a couple of players out there. Harvey to hand pass into the path of McLaren. He's confronted by Leckis, but he shrugged the tackle. Kicked the ball towards centre wing. Gathered there by Heatley. He's a long, long way down, isn't he? Probably 150 metres away from his position of the goal kicker up in front of that big scoreboard. Geez, Jason Heatley's run a long way on the Waverley Oval.
There's certainly no precision in St Kilda's game, is there, really? Every possession is being disputed by Hawthorn. They're putting the pressure on them, and basically St Kilda just can't set up any flow into their play, which is making their forwards' job just increasingly difficult. And there are not a lot of players in the St Kilda forward line that just look like winning the one-on-one balls.
It's just, and also the pressure of the Hawthorn half-forward line too. Like, they're working so hard that when it gets to the midfield, the St Kilda runners are under pressure, and as you saw that kick before, they're just not using the ball cleanly. Centre half forward, Surakowski, they just don't look like a one-on-one possession. They're very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
Hawthorn.
Salmon down to Crode, but chopped off by Harvey. Harvey's kick. Heatley might have marked that. No, play on, says the umpire. So Heatley indicating that Treleven's left arm over the top of his shoulder, but the umpire will bounce.
Yes, and Everett gone back forward. I don't think Stan Nells knows quite what to do with Everett. He looks they're certainly their most dangerous goal-kicking option, but in the early part of the quarter when he played full forward line, the ball just wasn't getting to that part of the ground.
Treleven's kick is gathered by McLaren, but the boundary umpire will throw it in. Joey McLaren running over with the footy. He's been pretty good. McLaren, 9 kicks and 1 hand pass. Peter Everett, 14 possessions. He kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. Salmon's left hand, gathered by Harvey. Gee, he just gets where the footy is, doesn't he, Robert Harvey? Kicks across the line, and it's well marked by Nathan Burke.
And Burke has gone forward as well. Certainly Hawthorn are just playing one-on-one on most of those duels. Leckis, Winmar, Trelevin, Brown, Woods, Burke, Crawford, Harvey, Hassel, Thompson, and when Burke went forward, Woods went with him. So they're trying to tighten the game up, Hawthorn. I guess at this point of time, it's worked quite well for them.
They lead by 20 points. Nathan Burke can bring it back to 14 with this kick. It's a very good kick, just off to the left. I feel it's a behind.
Just with that ruck work too, when Sirakowski was taking the ruck, Brett Cook was trying to get himself in a dangerous position in around centre-half forward. So obviously they're going to use Sirakowski on the boundary line and Brett Cook to use an option at centre-half forward in through that area, in through the midfield.
Crowd, Salmon, and then back to Robran. Robran into the middle of the ground, a good kick too, out in front of Ben Dixon. Dixon looking to get the ball quickly up to the full forward area. McCabe shepherd on Shane Wakeland enabled Dixon to get onto his left foot and kick it effectively right up into the full forward area. Daniel Chick goes for goal. The Hawks have kicked their 8th. Well, Chick's kicked his first goal. It was a pretty good effort in the finish. He was under a bit of pressure. Hawthorn lead 8-5 to 4-4.
Yeah, it was a good transfer out of defence from the kick-in, really. Basically, apart from this contest, of which Hawthorn eventually got the ball forward and Chick kicked the goal, it's the only time there was anything like a contest from the kick-in, and they certainly brought the ball up well. 4-goal lead. It's a pretty good margin as we go into these latter stages of the second quarter.
Well, there's been 4 goals kicked by St Kilda in the first quarter to the right-hand end of screen. And so far in this term, the Hawks have kicked 5. And looking at it, you would think the breeze is blowing to the big scoreboard end. Nathan Burke back to Heatley. Heatley to full forward. Nearly marked down here by Cranage. Provides a contest, and then the ball, frustratingly so, slips out of his grasp over for a throw-in.
And Sam Cranage, we see, been on the game about a minute. He came on as the last behind was being kicked, or before the previous goal. Now, his little heart will be pounding when you run onto the field for the first time in league football. I'm sure we can all remember the tension that is in your arms and your bodies and your mind and your heart in those first few minutes on the ground.
Especially when the ball's inches away from you, Lee. It's
can't
pumping.
quite get it.
You're trying to reach for it.
Well done by Shane Wakeland. He's been tackled.
They just look sharper, Hawthorn, all over the ground, quicker, tackling a lot harder, going certainly a lot more direct than St Kilda at this stage.
Oh, what a great mark here by Dixon. Love to have a look at the stats of Daniel Chick's second quarter. He has been tremendous. The kick towards Lord, gathered here by Crawford, shrugs the Thompson tackle, and Shane Crawford goes for goal. Across the face and scores a behind.
Yeah, that's just the kind of finish that you hope that Crawford can do. A terrific runner, terrific athlete, but doesn't necessarily make every possession absolutely count. And the tackling pressure of Hawthorn, they've had 20 tackles at this point to St Kilda's 9, and I think that part of the game, have a look at that big grab by Dixon. Got up there early, got the foot in the back to hold himself up there and get Cook out of position, but brought it down. Terrific mark.
Certainly he's a confidence into the lead just to take the risk and go for the mark, and it was a great mark by Dixon.
8 posies in the second term to Daniel Chick. Shane Wakeland goes short to Robert Harvey. May not have covered the required distance. That's a good kick by Harvey. No talk there, was there? Zilla, left it behind, did Tony Brown. The kick goes short, and it's marked there by McLaren.
And again, just not good enough use by Crawford. They turned the ball over St Kilda. They're really having trouble getting any flow in their game. As we saw, they had about 3 or 4 kicks just within 50 metres of goal and just couldn't clear the area. Now they're finally still stuck in that part of the ground. The Hawthorn one-on-one pressure is just making it very hard for St Kilda players to get clear.
Peckett held the football for quite a long time. Kicked it in the area there of Sirakowski and Heatley, and Sirakowski marks, gets the handball to Zilla. They may get something out of this. It'll land in an area in front there of young Cranage, but he's knocked off the football by Obst. Went back after it, grabbed the boy by the jumper, but he was able to get the hand pass away, young Obst, to Graham. He in turn to Leckis, and the Hawks steady. They are playing pretty good football. They lead 8-6 to 4-4, so still a 26-point margin in favour of Hawthorn. Winmar to Brown. Brown down the ground. This is Hodgson. Hodgson short kick. at the feet there of Heatley. Back to Hudson, confronted by Crawford, knocks it forward. Crode is there for Hawthorn. Short kick smothered off the boot by Jason Heatley. Handball pretty good to Brown. In turn, Hudson. They've got to get a goal here. It's exhausting stuff, but they're going to get one through Sierakowski. David Sierakowski kicks his first goal. And it is St Kilda's first goal of the second term.
And what happened there was Hawthorn made an interchange at the wrong time. They brought Brad Lloyd off the ground and Richard Taylor come on, but they left a loose man in through the midfield there, and St Kilda had one more player on the ground.
Yes, they still almost should have got that. Again, Crow just wasn't got the kick smothered. He just didn't think his way out of possession on the turnover there, or Sierakowski just found space on his own, but St Kilda need a little bit of luck because they're not really setting up many goals.
So back to 20 points in favour of the Hawks. 3 minutes left. Salmon knocks it down. Dixon trying to take the football through that pack of players, and the umpire will bounce.
You talk about Crode, like some players see teammates like Robert Harvey. He doesn't see opposition straight away. Some players, the good players, see teammates. The players who are not familiar with what's around them only see opposition. Even if it's a Hawthorn jumper there, they generally panic and unload the ball. As you see Mick Martin, he sees opposition all the time, where good players like Harvey see teammates, as Gary Hocking does.
Yeah, is that awareness that comes with experience, surely?
Oh, it's either you've got it, you haven't.
You're born with it, okay.
Well, Greg Williams.
Well, here's a chance for St Kilda with Cook. The right-hand defensive end of the square. Kick down there by Darryl Wakeland. No, the kick smothered. Back to Shane Wakeland. Awkward bouncing ball in the middle of the ground. The Saints are favoured here by an umpiring decision. It will go back to the centre of the ground and taken by McLaren. No, he's going to have to come back and do it all again.
Get over the mark.
I spoke about teammates and opposition. You see that, but Lee's right too. When you're clear, it's a coaching thing too to tell him you're not going to get caught. Just take your time and use the ball properly.
McLaren's kick. Crawford. He is just working very hard too, Shane Crawford. 19 possessions. And that's an effective one. Finds Richard Taylor out wide on the wing. Back in towards the centre. Johnny Hassel. Winmar falling over. Might be critical. Trelevin. Hassel ran on. Good play. Lekas. Down the ground goes Angelo Lekas. Kicks towards full forward. Hawthorn mark nearly taken there by Chick. Nick Holland. Lord. 5 goals in the first half to Aaron Lord. This is party time for Aaron Lord and party time for the Hawks. They lead 9-6 to 5-4.
Well, again, a lot of run off halfback. Certainly I think the Hawthorn tagging midfielders are much more prepared to leave their opponents on the offence. I don't think the St Kilda guys are chasing as hard. They've surged through midfield again. He just about grabbed this mark. Chick, but then really a terrific quick hands then by Holland to set up Lord. 5 goals and a half. I guess Aaron Lord is one of those players who does that every now and again.
I just hope the tips at the races from the Bairstow stable are equally as good, Couchy. You tipped that early in the game that he could be a very, very good goal kicker, and he's been just that. 5 goals. Kick forward by Cook for St Kilda. Robran, be careful. Nearly run down by Nathan Burke. Got the kick away wide for Trelevin. We're down into the last minute before half-time. Hawthorn enjoy a comfortable lead. Crode doing well for a young player. His kick lands at half-forward. Back goes Hudson, under a bit of pressure, too fancy. Dixon, snapshot across his right shoulder, scores a behind.
And the Hawthorn players are putting that much pressure on the St Kilda players. Just see him fumbling a bit there, taking 2 or 3 pats at the ball instead of taking the ball cleanly. Lee.
Expecting the guys on your back, even if he's not quite there to lay the pressure. The mental pressure has been built up earlier in the game. And certainly Hawthorn have achieved that.
27 points is the lead that they hold just before half-time. And I would have thought that maybe the... what's happening here? Taking too long.
Gave the warning. Yes, as we know, the umpire will come forward and say, now hurry it up, and if he gets back to his position and he's set again and the ball still hasn't been kicked, that's when they'll come forward and actually ping the full-back and bounce the ball on the end of the goal line. Dangerous situation.
Any empathy
St Kilda will probably try and force it through.
Any empathy for the coach just on half-time, Lee?
Always got empathy for the coach when the team's struggling, I can tell you.
Well, they certainly are. Crawford's a chance here. Shane Crawford, left foot, snaps a beauty. A ripper by Shane Crawford, a goal. Well, boy, doesn't that make it pay just before half-time.
And that's Crawford's 20th possession, 15 kicks and 5 handballs. Harvey's had 18. For two players that are playing on each other, Couchy, they're sharing the ball, no doubt about that. But certainly, terrific left foot snap here by Crawford. Didn't have much chance to get balance. Breeze just brought the ball back across the goals, and well, it's been a terrific half of football by Hawthorn. 10 goals and a 5-goal lead.
You'd say he'd have the edge at the moment, Lee, though, Crawford.
Well, that goal certainly has given him the numbers against his immediate opponent, Robert Harvey. 18 possessions to Harvey, 20 to Crawford. Push out. No, not paid. So Peckett goes to Campbell. Campbell's short kick.
But again, missed the target, didn't it? Yeah, it put the pressure on Winmar.
His little tap on for Hudson has worked. Hudson runs away from half-back. Handball into the middle to Cook. Cook goes back to Harvey. And the siren has sounded. Perhaps to the delight of the St.Kilda fans, because it has been a terrific quarter by Hawthorn. The Hawks kicked 7 goals 4 in the second term to 1 goal 1 for St Kilda. So we're about to go in the second half. The big game here at Waverley between the co-tenants, St Kilda and Hawthorn, and at half-time, Hawthorn enjoy a 33-point advantage. So the job in front of St Kilda, Nathan Burke gets it away from the centre, and a good strong mark taken at centre-half forward by David Sirakowski.
Just what they need, Robbo, get a good quick centre clearance from Nathan Burke and a good mark by Sirakowski.
Well, if he can get the distance and kick a goal, that'll lift the Saints. By gee, it's a good effort. It's a goal. The opening 30 seconds of the second half. Exactly what Stan Ells and his St Kilda coaching staff would have been looking for. They've kicked their 6th goal. It's been a bit of a goal drought. They kicked 4 in the first quarter, 1 in the second term, but quickly at the start of the third term, they've got their 6th on the scoreboard.
And they've restructured their forward line a little bit. They've got Everett playing deep, Brown and Winmar, so they've pushed those, and Sirakowski at centre-half forward is their approach second half.
Bounce to start play once again. Hawks get it forward. Knocked away there by Shane Wakeland, gathered by Crawford. His kick into the full forward area, knocked away from Crummell by Hudson. Ball rebounds, kick off the ground by Crummell, back to the goal square. Lord trying to swoop on it to try and get his 6th. Unsuccessful, forced through for a rush behind.
And Robbo, they've each got a loose man in forward line. Luke Beveridge is in Hawthorn's forward zone, and Mark Graham's playing loose in St Kilda's forward zone.
Robert Harvey accepts the kick in, then goes wide to Zilla. Zilla's got a little bit of support, but he elects to kick the ball long towards half forward. The ball to the front of the pack. Hand passed away there by McCabe, gathered by Burke. He looks like a man on a mission. Knowles is on the ground. Winmar's hand pass. McCabe missed it. Sirakowski confronted that player. Crawford gives away to Salmon. Then back to Richard Taylor running through the centre-half back area. He goes long and puts the St Kilda half-back line under a bit of pressure. Back there was Peckett. Swooping on it is Young. He's caught there and well caught front on by Harford.
Lee, and just their body language, St Kilda have come out this third quarter and they look a little bit more desperate. The boys are going harder at the ball at this stage, so a turnaround they need, because they need to be in that top 2 to have a chance of winning the flag.
Well, Salmon got it down, but kicked away for the Saints from their half-back line. Brown beaten for it by Trelevin. Thompson does well to Beveridge. Beveridge to Everett. Good kick. It's extremely difficult. The big man, the kick went to his advantage. It was very difficult for Robran.
Yeah, he actually, he does move to space. We mentioned it earlier, didn't we, Couchy, that he does just know. It's just a question of forwards being able to actually go to where the kicker can put the ball, and Spider knew that if he went right, Beveridge just could hook the ball across his body, and certainly once he gets front body position, the height makes it tough for his defender.
He's kicked 3, but 2 of his goals have come from very similar to where he's kicking from here, and he's hit the post.
But Luke Beveridge was playing loose in the Hawthorn forward zone. He was That's going to be very dangerous in the third quarter here, where the Mark Graham makes more use of his possessions than Luke Beveridge, and that could set up St Kilda if Luke Beveridge gets on top.
27 points is the advantage. The kick goes long and very directly to Lekes. Just took a little bit of time there. Winmar was able to just chip in. Wakeland to Thompson. Back now to Knowles. Knowles for St Kilda. Kick smothered off the boot. So the rebound for the Hawks here. Harford goes back wide to Dixon. Back to Harford. That was good play by two of the younger Hawthorn players. Up high, Hudson. Now, was that another reasonable attempt at a mark?
Well, he certainly jumped on his back and got one hand to the ball. It was a reasonable attempt at a spoil, Robbo. I don't know whether it was an attempt to mark. I guess we'll have a second look at it. Oh, no, I think he was up at the ball. It's fair enough. I've got to be able to do that, yep.
So the bounce about 30 metres out from the Hawthorn goal. It's kicked away for the Saints, back close to the boundary line. And after it, Shane Wakeland. It'll be thrown in about 65 metres around from the Hawks' goal.
And Mark Graham, I think, has gone up to play as an extra midfielder, Couchy, on Beveridge. It's hard to know who set that up, whether Hawthorn set up the spare man or St Kilda, but certainly I think Hawthorn's attitude is let's try and make it one-on-one all over the field. So Graham has certainly come up the field
Don't let
play it near Beveridge.
You're right, don't give St Kilda advantage if Beveridge is going to be more dangerous. Let's make it a one-on-one contest and let's see who gets even amount of possessions with Beveridge and Graham playing one-on-one.
They are our umpires for this match. Robert Harvey, champion player, still one of the very fancy candidates for the 1998 Brownlow medal, having won it last year. Andrew Thompson, a good mark.
Look a little bit more desperate, St Kilda, working harder for the front position in this early piece of the third quarter.
Kick in towards the centre, that's a good effort by Trelevin from behind. And he plays on quickly, kicks across the line. A little risky, but Crawford did well to take the mark from behind. Winmar, he was advantaged by the kick, Shane Crawford. Had 22 possessions so far. Gets past his opponent quite straightforwardly and then kicks it towards the half-forward area. The bounce was very awkward there for Wakeland, Zilla, Nick Holland, and over the top there, Darryl Wakeland to hold up the Hawks' advance.
And Robin actually took off out of defence and dragged Everett up. That's what Fender has to do on the big tall ruckman. If you get disadvantaged in height and bulk, make sure you at least get up the ground, drag them up, try and wear them out.
Well done by Nick Holland, but chipping in there was Mitchell. He couldn't take the football with him. Cook was able to gather, kick the ball back close to the centre of the ground. Zilla disadvantaged by the bounce. The big punch comes out wide. It's gathered here by McLaren. Oh, he's a player on his own, Everett. He's a long way from goal, though, the big spider. Getting back is Sirakowski. The kick advantages that player. He comes from behind. He stands his ground. Can he gather that awkward ball? No, he can't. He's helped over by Hassel for a boundary throw.
Good play by McCabe then. He knew that he had a bigger player, Sirakowski, behind him, but he pushed his body back in hard from the front position and made it impossible for Sirakowski to get out the ball. Could have almost got a free kick as well. So it was good play, good defensive play then by McCabe.
Sirakowski, Winmar! Just missed to the left.
Interesting move that, isn't it? Lekes had Winmar under reasonable control up the field. Wasn't too bad, Winmar, but certainly I think Stan Elves reasoned at half-time that somehow or other St Kilda probably needed to kick 8 or 10 goals in this second half if they had any chance of winning. And Winmar, one of the players they've looked to as a potential goal kicker.
I don't reckon he's got that running power anymore, Lee, where he can play in through the midfield. He probably is a little bit more dangerous and magical in the forward line at this stage of his career.
Woods accepted the kick in. Matthew Young outnumbered completely there. Hawthorn go forward once again. This is Obbs, who did very well in the second term. His kick to half forward has been well marked by Holland. And Nick Holland is certainly within scoring distance. Barker on the ground for the Hawks, and Crode goes to the bench.
Comes an important kick, this, because St Kilda has certainly laid the challenge in this first 8 minutes of the third quarter, but they've only got the one goal back, reduced the margin by one goal. So this is an important kick to get Hawthorn back to its half-time lead.
Nick Holland going for his third goal. Kicks, and kicks truly. So the Hawks do answer. 3 goals is personally a reasonable effort. He hasn't had a lot of the football, just 9 possessions, but 3 goals is a good performance by Nick Holland.
Well, that's it, isn't it? They've got 3 out of Holland, and Aaron Lord is just with opportunist work has actually kicked his 5, and 11 goals. It's a pretty good effort as we go early in this third quarter. That means Hawthorn are on line for a 15-16 goal day. If they can do that, I suspect they'll win the game. Don't think St Kilda are going to be able to kick 10 goals from this point on.
The umpire bounces. Salmon gets it down beautifully. And Harford rides the bump. Back to Obst. Obst has had now 7 possessions. Hudson. Crummell goes back. Ball spills to Hudson. And a free kick. It's a Hawthorn free kick. Thought maybe there was an arm in there that looked a little high. It might have been Ziller on Dixon by the look of it.
But Aaron Lord has played well the first half where Peckett was on him. Now Peckett's moved up to the half-back line, and St Kilda are using him as probably the run through the centre where they haven't had that great run. And just wasn't much in that.
Well, very little on replay, I must say. Having watched it on replay, it looked.
But Ziller's dropped back onto Aaron Lord just to get
much better body player.
Yeah, much better body player and low to the ground.
Dixon going for his first goal, and one would suspect by the noise of the crowd that he's missed.
It's poetic just to say the St Kilda crowd.
He's kicked 3 behinds, Ben Dixon.
Peckett did struggle with Aaron Lord's body on body, and Ziller's a good option against Aaron Lord.
I think Peckett's very much plays on really the crumbing forward, the small, light crumbing forward.
Chick. Oh, what a kick by Daniel Chick. And have a guess who's got it. Ben Dixon, who's kicked 3 behinds, has taken a specky in the goal square. But certainly a top effort. Well, it was probably a mistake by St Kilda that led to it.
Yeah, they tried to bring the ball out, but basically, again, they've turned the ball over. The Hawthorn pressure, they just tried to be precise, but really they've had no run out of defence. I mean, they've just tried to chip the ball out. There's been no one that's been able to really surge out, and ball being turned over, and on the rebound, all the Hawthorn forwards were there waiting.
Well, going for Hawthorn's 12th, and his first, and he's kicked this one. Well done by Dixon. Just a young player from the point of view of games played, but certainly one of the real future stalwarts of the Hawthorn club. He's kicked their 12th goal.
He's going to be a real good prospect for Hawthorn. Dixon, he's going to be very good like Luke McCabe. They've got a bit of talent there. Even Jonathan Hayes not playing today, but they've got a little bit of talent there, and they've got a lot of inexperienced players, Hawthorn, playing today, and they've used a lot of them, and they've seemed to have improved over the last 3 or 4 weeks with their work ethic, and they've been fantastic, the Hawks, today.
Well, they've gone back out now to a 39-point advantage. It was 33 at half-time, so they've increased their lead after St Kilda kicked the first goal. That's over the shoulder, isn't it? Umpire in a terrific position to see that. The free kick to Winmar. Yeah, nothing much in that, surely.
But every time St Kilda have gone, they've all gone wide all the time, haven't they, Robbo? Like out of the back line, they haven't actually gone through central, and Stewie Lowe's certainly been missed today, especially with his powerful mark. It just straightens up St Kilda, and when he's not there, they seem to struggle up from the half-back line in through their midfield, looking for somebody to actually take a contested mark.
Well done by Barker. He got the ball to Johnny Hassel, and that kick was good too. Crawford, well, you just have to rate him in the best 3 on the ground, purely and simply because he's kept getting the ball. And that was a terrific mark by Aaron Lord.
I think his confidence is up today, Aaron Lord. I think he's feeling pretty good about his football today. I must say, I saw him play against Collingwood a month ago, 3 weeks ago, and I thought he was woeful in all honesty.
He can have a shocker, Lee, don't worry about that.
I tell you what, this is a different performance tonight. He's got his 5, and he's after 6, 7 or 8. He'd be happy with them.
He's playing like King Kong, isn't he? Nothing can touch me.
Well, he's going for goal number 6. Hooks the kick. Scores a behind. 5 goals, 2.
And he's been a great player for Hawthorn. Like at Geelong, he was just an opportunist in and out of the side. And Hawthorn have given him the confidence and played him every game, and he's played every game this year, and they've done very well on the swap, really, because Tim Hargraves really hasn't set the world on fire for Geelong, and Hawthorn have really picked up an extra player here, Darren Lord. So he can have bad weeks, Lordy, but generally, when he has a good one, he can have a purple patch.
Well, it'd be a rare player that plays consistently great football week in, week out, so let's give him the credit for the game he's playing today. He's kicked 5 goals. Robert Harvey out wide. Joey McLaren coming up for possession number 15. Nice little hand pass over the top for Knowles. Knowles gets past and approaches the 50-metre line, kicks it to the danger area, but back goes Robran. Bit of a misunderstanding, but he's able to recover his composure. To Trelevin, in turn out wide to Salmon. Salmon can go down the ground. There's a player on his own here. It's Harford. Harford doesn't mind a little setup like this either. One bounce, then we'll kick forward. It's now in the Hawthorn forward 50, but a good mark taken by Brett Cook. Look to play on.
We mentioned, Robbo, that they've got a spare man back, Hawthorn. They've put Graham to centre-half back as Hassel gets the ball.
Funny little kick. Squeezed it out quite well. Nick Holland. Oh, tackle by Brett Cook. The ball spills wide. Hand pass forward by Wakeland. Harvey. Hudson. Then kicked by Elliott. Very high, wobbly old punt kick. Punched away in the finish there for Hawthorn by Graham.
And just to continue that point, and Graham has gone to centre-half back, and now Barker's dropping back as a spare man in defence. And I thought Hawthorn may have stuck with their one-on-one. I think it's Beveridge spare up one end, but Hawthorn have been so good with this one-on-one mentality. One thing you would suspect they might stay with it.
You wouldn't mind being on the end of some of Paul Salmon's knockouts. Here's Lord again. Oh. Here's Lord. Lord.
Oh, Lordy D.
Thank you very much. And all the Christmases that come at once. Thank you very much.
It is the Aaron Lord show today at Waverley. 6 goals.
Yes, the right place at the right time, I must say. I don't know how many he's actually earned, but his opportunism and Harford's got a bit of the ball, and Crawford continues to get the ball in that duel with Harvey, and there he was the 4th man up in the contest. Lloyd, but the others went at the ball basically, and he kept his feet. Keep your feet, you're still in the play. Hawthorn now, it's a big lead.
You've got to go a long way back. He kicked the goal, but Salmon's tap out on the wing was just absolute genius ruck work.
He's starting to feel too good, Lord. He's starting to show him the ball.
Well, he's just having an absolute day out. Salmon early, and then hacked it out of mid-air. Harford got the hand pass away, and it's your day when that hand passes to the advantage. It's a blind one, but it's to the advantage of your team. Obst receives from Woods. Obst kick. It's all
Rawlings.
Rawlings has pulled one down.
Isn't confidence a magnificent thing? Once the teammates start doing it, it pressures off everybody else, and gee, they're all in for the party now. He just came off interchange not long ago, Jade Rawlings, and
you saw Ben Dixon take a great jump, so the confidence has got to be up with the Hawthorn players, but I think it's now time for Everett to go on the ball now and certainly quell Salmon's influence.
46 points, he could make it 52. The fans like it. Jade Rawlings loves it. It's a goal.
Yes, I've got a feeling it's far too late for Peter Everett to go on the ball. That's an 8-goal lead. 8 goals for 52 points. Just a gigantic lead. Oh, St Kilda, the rot has set in. Stuart Lowe, they'll welcome back next week, and do they need him? Because all of a sudden, they got beaten marginally by Eston by a small margin, only 3 points, I think it was. 2 weeks ago, thrashed by Adelaide, and now the bottom side is absolutely giving them a caning.
Well, they are not a bottom side, in my opinion. They're better than a bottom side, the Hawks.
Yeah. They're giving them a nice tickle up, though, aren't they?
Oh, yes, and I think that's great for the AFL competition. Not so good if you follow St Kilda, I suppose.
Your supporters would be ropeable.
Yes, they're not much barracking out there. Matthew Young, on this occasion, runs away from Obst. Kicks with the left. Sirakowski.
But every possession you see with the St Kilda players is out wide and making it very difficult to square the ball up and go direct to the full forward line, where you see the Hawthorn players getting the ball down quickly into their forward line, making it very hard.
Well, Salmon's been terrific today. His possessions won't indicate that, but his ruck work and his just sharing of situations for his teammates has been fantastic. Barker from the full back line. He's looking for the running player Crawford. The kick falls short, gathered by Harvey. Harvey looks a little weary. Hand pass finds Beveridge. Beverage's kick. Mitchell aerobatically.
You mentioned Harvey looking a bit weary. We got his statistics. He's ran 10,500 metres in the first half.
No wonder if 10.5
Ks. He's run
But
quarter marathon.
He's usually getting chased, but he's been the chaser now on Shane Crawford, who's really started to take over the game here.
25 possessions. So Harvey's had 25 too, aren't they? Getting a lot of the ball, but they're charging up and down against each other.
Everett on this occasion gets the front posse from Salmon. Andrew Thompson just indiscriminately, so gathered by Harford, he's taken over. Attempted front on tackle by Everett, but eventually by Nathan Burke. And it'll be thrown in on the right half forward area. There's Robert Harvey.
He always gives you that thing that he is tired, but I can tell you he can sprint off straight away.
He's gone forward into the goal square, actually, as this boundary throw was contested on the half forward line.
Salmon lucky he wasn't penalised 50. He had the ball and just dropped it at his feet there. Free kick against him in the ruck contest, going to Everett. Everett made to kick it right into the square. He does just that. Oh, top mark by Robran. He suffered a cut there. It looked as though it was on his forehead. He was attended at quarter time by 3 or 4 of the medical staff, and they've wrapped him up, and he's come back onto the ground to do a job for the Hawks. Everett, short kick good. Mitchell.
He's a beautiful kick of the ball, Everett, isn't he? Big fella, but the way he drilled that left footer, he kicks the ball as well as any player of any height, I suspect, on that left side.
Hand to boot very close together. Technique's 100%, isn't it? Though?
Mitchell, the short pass into the pocket. Too far there for Harvey, his opponent Crawford.
But I didn't see too many bad left footers when I was playing, Lee.
You reckon all the left footers have got those kicking skills, Couch?
Good on you, Couchy. Get a plug in, mate. Get a plug in. Boundary umpire will throw it in. About 30 metres around from the St Kilda goal. They badly need one. Trelevin. Hand pass, but it's chopped off by Thompson. Kick to the front of the goals, and the mark taken by Robran. And a couple of good marks, and from a fairly well on the ground position, he got the hand pass away. It's Barker on the end of it. He's got McCabe running in support. He can go all the way, McCabe. He can go the whole way down the ground. After 2 bounces, kicks to half forward, over the head there of Chick, gathered by Wakeland. Which one was it, Couchy? Shane or Darryl?
Shane.
It was Wakeland.
It was Wakeland.
Shane.
Johnny Hassel.
It was number 12.
Johnny Hassel. His kick will be marked by Winmar.
He's got more hairs on his head.
Beveridge.
I can tell them apart when I look at their number.
Beveridge for St Kilda out wide. Cook, Thompson at the front of the pack. Runs down and then kicks short to Everett. Everett in front there on this occasion of John Barker. They've done pretty well though, the Hawks defenders. Everett has looked quite damaging. He kicked 3 goals in the first quarter, hasn't added to that yet.
Trouble is when he's not in the forward 50, there's no one else looks like getting it.
And you can see there he's just holding up play because he's got no one to kick to, as it's been mentioned by Lee Matthews and Paul Couch. And then the indecision has caused him to cough it up to Harford.
Because Jason Hootley's off the ground and certainly hadn't had a great game, Jason Hootley, but he's just one of the St Kilda forwards with goal-kicking capability. Just at the moment, they haven't got anyone much down there. 6 goals, 6. They've only kicked 6 goals, only had 12 scoring shots, and really the game is a long way slipping away. You need to get all your forwards back on who've got a chance of kicking a goal, right. I think.
You've got to kick him to win it.
Ominous signs because Nick Holland might start getting a bit of the football. He's a strong marking player. He took that one across the half-back line. This is Harvey for St Kilda.
The foot race is on.
His kick in towards full forward's been marked by Cook. Now he's within scoring distance. Go back and kick a goal. St Kilda badly needed. 6 goals, 6 to 14 goals, 10. And what's that, a margin of 52 points?
It's a big margin as we speak. Craninger's going on for Beveridge and Hootley is getting ready to go on also. Not sure who's coming off just yet.
So Cook to kick for goal. It's come back. It looks pretty good. It's a goal to St Kilda, kicked by Brett Cook. Well, they needed that one, Lee.
Well, yes, they do. You wonder where this improvement is going to come from. Certainly the Crawford, it's not coming from Robert Harvey. He's doing his best, had 26 possessions, but his opponent Crawford is doing equally as well. Nathan Burke is probably the one they need a lift from. He's only had 8 possession, Burkey, so he's had a bad game. Nicky Winmar's had a bit of the ball, but they just can't get any real flow through the midfield. Stuart Lowe's not there to take the one-on-one marks, so Everett has to go back.
The bounce in the centre. Cook, this time it's taken by Thompson. Hand pass Winmar. Winmar goes to Cranage. In turn Brown. Over the top, back to Nathan Burke. Slip, able to get his kick forward, but it's marked back there by Barker. Just doing a quiet job there. That hand pass not all that good, but Robert able to gather. Off to Crawford, then back to Barker, into the centre. And the mark was taken here by Trelevin. He just keeps accumulating. Trelevin, so does Salmon. Gathers the ball, and then the big fella straightens up and kicks into the pocket. And the mark was taken here by Rawlings. Just a little too pedestrian, that passage of play, as far as St Kilda are concerned.
Well, I think we've said all day that the St Kilda can't get any of those surges out of defence really happening. The goals they're kicking have just really come by just, well, not so much coincidence, but they just have to happen. Hawthorn, a number of times, have really just surged out of defence, held the ball through midfield, delivered accurately to their forwards, the copybook stuff.
Rawlings, oh, what a kick! 50 metres plus his second goal.
Yes, their confidence is certainly up, Hawthorns. They're using the ball better through the midfield. They're going more direct, mind you, than St Kilda, who seem to be chipping wide. And when you see Everett Market out in the forward pocket on a very acute angle, but they've certainly got their confidence up, and Rawlings was a great kick for goal and straight through the middle. And it was an effort by Crawford too in the back half to actually go back. He was chasing Harvey.
2-on-1, didn't he?
2-on-1, yeah, and got the ball, and I think that was the difference between them kicking a goal, Hawthorn. He's buttering up and turning around and getting the ball.
How about Jade Rawlings? 2 kicks, 2 marks, 2 goals.
Thank you.
No argument there. 100% return. And they go forward again through Leckis. And Nick Hollander's mark.
And Jade Rawlings kicking those last couple of goals. He's the player that for the last year or two they've been hoping could be the replacement for Jason Dunstall. Well, no one's going to replace Dunstall, but the next Hawthorn full forward, 20-year-old, he's got plenty of talent, Rawlings, and this fella Holland, he's good for them too.
Well, he may have similar stats from his 9th kick. He's missed on this occasion, but from 9 kicks, he's kicked 3 goals, 2. Not big stats, but he's a hard worker for Hawthorn. The kick-in will be done by Shane Wakeland, goes short to Peckett.
They've chipped it out of here, St Kilda, as they've done all day, but they just can't seem to get any flow. They'll chip it out again, but then all of a sudden they look up and there's no one to flow the ball on, so they're under pressure.
Elliott, certainly under pressure. Tried to get it to Knowles. Still Knowles a chance. Handball to Elliott. Now maybe the 2 youngsters can combine here to clear the ball. Thompson eventually. A high kick. Back towards the wing, and that's a mark taken by Graham for the Hawks. Quickly on into the middle of the ground. Very hard to stop him, isn't he? Holland with a bit of a run at it. Barker down the ground. John Barker straightens up. Then the hand pass, not too bad. Leckis, can he strike the tackle? He can. Goes for goal. Angelo Leckis has missed.
That wind's very strong out there, isn't it? Both ends, if the ball starts anywhere near the centre of the goals, it gets blown very much to the near side of the ground, to the side from which the cameras are positioned, and I think the Hawthorn supporters thought that one was going through, but the wind grabbed it, dragged it offline again.
This is where they really struggled, though, Lou, like you pointed.
Yeah,
they
to really get out of the zone.
They're looking for a marking option, and they really have struggled.
Well, the Hawks are on the bottom of the ladder at the moment. They've won 4 matches. They have a percentage of 83.9. They're striving to avert the wooden spoon. The Brisbane Lions are 2 points in front of them, so they'll go over the Brisbane Lions if they win today in points. They trail the Blues by 6% so far. So these 3 matches, or the 4 matches left, 3 plus this one, all important for all sides in all positions on the ladder, I'm sure. Salmon defending to Obst. Obst finds Leckis. Leckis is at right half back. Have a look at this.
Oh, they're running off Hawthorn, but the St Kilda guys aren't chasing.
Paddock in front of Craig Trelevin. He's got a player running in support. It's Hassel. You'll give it back, will he? No, get a stat yourself, Johnny Hassel. He'll go for goal, and he'll kick a goal. Gee, that was a bit easy, wasn't it? They're happy, the Hawks.
It's just the turnovers, though, Robbo. It's just the turnovers. St Kilda get it down there, but
quickly turned over by the Hawthorn
And another,
players.
get another kick.
He get another kick, does he?
I'm not sure what happened, but certainly Hawthorn will get another kick.
Well,
A second kick, we should say, not another kick. The goal's been registered. Is it Ben Dixon who's going to take...
Yep. They certainly have a party though. Like
It is a party, isn't it?
right, like you get a free kick, I'll have another goal, thank you.
It's a tough old game though, isn't it? I mean, Shane Wakelin looks as though he's given the free kick away to Ben Dixon. And on the mark, Shane Wakelin is being attended to by the trainers. He looks as though he's in a bad way. So he's copped it from both barrels.
The retaliation factor, Robbo, you know you shouldn't do it the second time because it generally gets caught.
Ah, you Brownlow medalists, eh? Keep the umpires happy. Dixon goes for goal. Has he kicked his second? No, he hit the post. So 1-4. Not a good return by Ben Dixon. He's usually a very accurate kick for goal. He's had a bit of trouble today.
And St Kilda have put Robert Harvey down on the forward line just to take Shane Crawford out of the game, who they probably feel is just winning the battle at this stage, just to give Harvey a rest and maybe in the last quarter put him on the ball and give him some more run.
It's interesting that because they've basically been sharing possessions. They've had about the same. Again, St Kilda under pressure from the kick-in situation before they bring it out.
Still there for the Hawthorn side, but now run away by McLaren. Handball may go bouncing back. Daniel Chick, Daniel Harford. The siren will sound before Nick Holland can get the kick away.
Aaron Lloyd was standing there on his own. He said, here comes number 7.
Well, we can have a bit of a chuckle in the commentary box, but it's all serious down there, especially for St Kilda, because at three-quarter time they trail miserably on the scoreboard. There it is there. 61 points the margin in favour of the Hawks. 16-13 to 7-6 for the Hawks. Aaron Lloyd has kicked 6. Nick Holland 3, Jade Rawlings 2 in that quarter, and for St Kilda, Peter Everett kicked 3 all in the first term, and David Sirakowski has kicked 2 goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Downhill it's been for St Kilda the last 2 weeks. Not only are they a mile behind on the scoreboard, they are a mile behind on scoring shots. 13 scoring shots to 29, so very, very bad thrashing. So at this point, St Kilda, big margin to make up. Hawthorn 16-13, 109, lead the Saints 7-6, 48.
Well, every week, it seems, in AFL football in season 1998, we've had something of a surprise. Today, St Kilda, who started $1.30 favourites against the Hawks, who are $3.20 with the sports bet bookmakers, are copping a shellacking here at Waverley. St Kilda, 7-6. Trail Hawthorn 16-18 at three-quarter time. And they really have the job in front of them, the Saints.
Certainly at the moment, that first set of outs of this final term, St Kilda had 6 designated forwards and Hawthorn had 7 designated defenders. 7th one's being Daniel Harford. Now, if you're going to play a loose man in defence, I reckon Daniel Harford is the type. Very constructive. It'll be interesting to see how that setup eventuates. With a big lead, however, I don't know whether you need to go to a spare defender to get run. Hawthorn are getting it anyway.
Well, Crawford, with his 27th possession, kicks the ball in the area there of Paul Salmon. Young gave it up. Dixon's hand pass. Lord, he'd want to have a shot at goal, wouldn't he? Aaron Lord, round onto his right, kicks the ball right to the square, but the mark taken back there by Darryl Wakelin for St Kilda.
I think what they're going to do, Hawthorn, is Salmon will ruck and push into the forward line, try and be the extra forward, and therefore Harford, be it he's only a small player, will be almost the designated floating player in place of the ruck position.
Again, another very good kick by Peter Everett, pinpointing from 40 metres, Tony Brown. Goes in towards the centre-half back area. Matthew Young has the football. He's a good kick of the footy too. Not a lot of pressure, but he did it well to Max Hudson. Hudson in the centre of the ground. Kicks high and long towards centre-half forward. At the back, Heatley couldn't take the mark. Winmar and young Cranage. Harford prepared to just see the ball over for a boundary throw in.
It's been a bit of a one-man band here, but hasn't he? 18 kicks, 3 handballs, 12 marks, 3 goals too. So he's certainly done okay in that. Jules Salmon's ruck work has certainly been terrific.
Fantastic.
But Everett's had plenty of ball. They need 2 of him, really. They need him as a forward and they need him as a ruckman, I think.
Statistics though at three-quarter time though, St Kilda had 2 more possessions than Hawthorn, and yet they're 61 points down. They're just searching and looking through the midfield there with a lot of handball and overuse, and that's what's really cost them. And Hawthorn's better use of the ball in through the midfield has certainly been the better of the day, and the desperation also.
Just a rare error there by the Hawks. Craig Trelevin in his anxiety to clear the full back line, kicked it out on the full. So the free kick to Tony Brown. And this is the home for both of these teams, the St Kilda Football Club and the Hawthorn Football Club. Barker, Graham, Trelevin, and then Woods. Outside their defensive 50, it bounces over for a boundary throw in. That's young Chris Obst for Hawthorn, and making his debut, I would have thought today, Lee. Would that be right, Chris Obst?
No, he's played a couple of games. This is his excellent third game, but yeah, first-year player.
32,286 people watching Peter Everett get the ball down to Harvey. He's
Paul Salmon made a tackle. You wouldn't see that too often, would you, that Salmon has tackled a Harvey, but I guess that's indicative of the way Hawthorn have played this game.
Well, the kick has gone in the direction there of Nick Holland, punched further forward by Barker. Back goes McLaren. Handball. Looking for Hudson. Hudson had a bit of time to gather and then get it further forward to Harvey. Harvey goes wide and does it well. Cook out in front of Robran is marked. He's probably too far out to score, although the flags indicate that the breeze may be at his back. But he's got to kick the ball a long way to score.
And this is where Hawthorn have been so good to block up St Kilda's forward line there and give him no option. He's got to have a go for a lucky point.
Gee, it's a good kick. It's a goal. It's a great kick by Brett Cook.
I think you picked it, Robbo. He had the wind very much at his back on that angle, and it was a really scunchy, floating kick, but the wind got hold of it and pushed it through.
But you're going to make it hard work, Lee, aren't you, kicking from that far out? You know, very rarely the percentages are not there to kick a goal, but it was a good effort to get the distance, and it wasn't the best of kicks, but the result was required. Cook has had a reasonable game, kicking 2 goals.
We saw Stan Elves come off at three-quarter time. What sort of instructions did he go down to the team with at three-quarter time?
Well, I think really, okay, they're 10 goals behind as we go into this late, and you think to yourself, well, they can't win the game, but percentage for St Kilda is just as critical. They just need to peg back, make sure every goal that's kicked is theirs and not Hawthorn's, so just at least if they're going to lose the game, lose it by as small a margin as possible.
And try and turn the 2 weeks around too. Try and win this last quarter and get some positivity play in your game, because they're not actually playing with any great deal of positive play. They struggle with the ball, and that's what you'd be also pointing out too, to give them some confidence.
Well, that might have been out on the full. Was it against Dixon? No, there's Stan Elves and Norm Goss.
20 rowies now. Third consecutive loss looks like coming up, and the last 2 look like being by very big margins. So Stuart Lowe comes back in next week, and it's amazing the difference that one player can make, really. But Aussie Jones, he played in the reserves, didn't really do anything special down there. So all of a sudden, St Kilda really got some problems going into the last 3 rounds.
And the Hawks have got a chance here. Obst, good hand pass to Nick Holland. Tries to hook the kick in favour of Crawford. Crawford's snapshot is very wide.
And with Stuart Lowe being out, centre-half forward's such an important position at Waverley because it's so big, and he's at such an aerobic fit centre-half forward. You need him to present himself and actually straighten up St Kilda, because they've been going wide, as I've been saying, but straighten them up and make them go down through the midfield.
Well, they've got a chance here. Zilla from the full-back area. Kicks it long out towards the wing. Hudson at the back, Richard Taylor. Trelevin gathers, spins away and gets the hand pass back to Taylor. And with a bit of leg speed can break away. And that's probably been the key component for the Hawks this afternoon. Daniel Harford's kick, not marked well. Shane Crawford would have another look and say, how did I miss that in the finish? Matthew Young kicks across the half-back line. Everett, he's covered some territory here in this little passage of play with Paul Salmon. His kick not bad, and running onto it is Peckett. They might get a goal out of this. Peckett's kick towards full forward, over the top of Heatley. Back goes Lekas, confronted by Cranage and Heatley. The ball spills for the throw-in. And be careful, Jason Heatley. Throwing the ball away like that might be deemed as wasting time.
Same time, not that long ago now, probably a couple of months maybe, St Kilda took on the Swans in Sydney on a Saturday night without Stuart Lowe and won by almost 100 points. Same players, nothing much different. No. So it can change around quickly, but just at the moment I think St Kilda are a side that really are at the bottom of their form, a lot of players, and that's really what's going to turn around. But the effect of a few players can sometimes do that.
Well done there by Barker, not able to control the footy. Through comes Cook, he's working hard. Thompson high towards full forward. The ball spills to the front. Brown unselfishly to Hudson. Hudson, his kick may have been smothered off the boot, touched off the boot, according to the umpire, through for a behind to St Kilda.
You're looking for something to find to give St Kilda a bit of spark somewhere, but everywhere you look.
One thing they know they need, we mentioned just before that Aussie Jones got left out this week, but you need an Aussie Jones fit and well to really give you a little breakaway speed around the midfield. Jason Cripps, who's had a bad hamstring injury and hasn't played for most of the year or most of the second half, he also, they're just
to push through the lines, don't you, Lee? Just to break it up.
Gee, that was a good kick by Crawford. The Saints haven't got anywhere near touching it, and Harford has the ball on centre wing. He's protected by his running support players. Then the kick, well done, Robran.
Smart.
Good play there by Dixon down to Robran. His shot for goal just misses, but it was clever play. If Dixon had gathered the ball, he may have been run down. He knocked it down for Robran, who just missed. 16-14 to 8-7.
It was good play, wasn't it? Just because you don't have to take possession of the ball to be constructive. He obviously took possession of the ball, he would have been tackled from behind. So
it's a great play. Just thinking through the tight situation too, Lee, wasn't it? Just not to panic here, give the player the ball.
Zilla short to Thompson.
They keep chipping it short, St Kilda, but they just can't get actually past the zone, can they? Now, again, Thompson will come out wide.
Looked for Wakeland, punched away by Nick Holland. The boundary umpire will throw it in. Right half forward here for...
And that's been their great play, Hawthorn. They've blocked for their teammate. They've done all that. They've punched from behind when they've had to, and just their tackling's been absolutely fantastic early in the piece, and it's just continued on all day.
It is in Hawthorn's scoring area. Burke back to Young. A little left foot kick by Young. Don't quite know who he was aiming that for. Harford's gathered it and then kicks towards centre half forward. Trying the big leap from behind there was Jade Rawlings. The umpire's found a free kick. It's going to St Kilda, and now the advantage is with the Saints. Matthew Young has the football, kicks it out wide in the direction of Winmar. Just Leckers, well, that wasn't a free kick. In the context of the game of footy, there wasn't much in that, was there?
I think it's more tiredness just to fall over more than anything you could push in the back.
Little fortunate, Nicky Winmar. He's on centre wing. Probably hasn't got much energy even to kick the football. To Young. At the feet there of McLaren. He's beaten for it. The rebound now. Leckers for the Hawks. Towards full forward. Lord, he wants to get that 7th goal. Knocks it clear. Dixon there to give him a bit of a hand. Dixon's left foot snap is very wide. Missed everything out of bounds on the full.
They've got some future, Hawthorn, haven't they, with Dixon, Luke McCabe. Chick's been very good. Rawlings looks quite handy. They've just got a little bit of, something to work on for next year. So Ken Judge would be very happy with their form today and the last week also. Give him some confidence and continue on for next year. Leckers is very good. Player. He's improved, Robbo, hasn't he, the last couple of years?
Pretty good year as a halfback flanker, and he's been given the job on Winmar today, and Winmar's got a little bit of the ball, but certainly hasn't been able to provide any penetration with it.
Holland receiving from Crawford, that his kick has been marked by Zilla. So really all the heat out of this game. It's going to be a win for Hawthorn, and the crowd just sensing that. Peckett's left this behind, but he's got time to recover. Handball back to Nathan Burke. Burke's kick, well, plenty of time for McLaren to sit underneath it and then kick it out wide in the direction of Hudson. Not Hudson, it's Cranage. And that wasn't a bad mark, actually, by a young player playing his first game.
I think Obbs came over the mark, is what the umpire adjudicated.
But don't you get a second chance? That doesn't he call you back the first time? If you don't go back, it's a 50. I don't think he called him back the second time.
Often happens, but whatever happened. You saw what I saw, Catch. I'm not sure either. All I know is he's been given a 50-metre penalty.
I think Howlett thought it was his first game, so he might as well give him a 50-metre and have a crack at a goal.
Well, if that's the case, let's see what young Sam can do. He may have he's missed everything. So a free kick for Hawthorn in the right back pocket. There's Sam Cranage. First gamer for St Kilda. Robran to kick in. Goes across the face of goal to Trelevin. Trelevin running through the half-back line. He's had 3 bounces. Nearly go again. Knowles, number 36 for St Kilda. His kick has been marked out there by Robert Harvey. Mentioned a few more of those stats, Lee, about the metres that those two boys covered in the first half.
Into third quarter they were down a bit because Harvey played mainly as a permanent forward. Yeah, but 10 kilometres, 10,500 metres Robert Harvey covered, and he was Shane Crawford covered a little less, about 8,300, but had a bit more of the ball, about 20 possessions each. So amazing coverage that these midfielders, and I think most people would believe normally a big ground like Waverley, if Harvey gets towards 20 Ks at the end of a game, that's about as much as anyone runs in a game of footy, I suspect.
And they've both had 31 possessions.
Yeah, just kept finding the ball.
Now, how far is a marathon?
42 Ks.
Now, they think that you can only run one good marathon every 6 months. Like this bloke's running half a marathon every week. Like, it's just a mental capacity to keep going.
And the goal's been kicked by Heatley. So St Kilda have crept through. Jason Heatley has kicked his second goal. We're halfway through the last quarter. And from a St Kilda point of view, that scoreboard just looks absolutely lousy. 9-7 to 16-14.
He'll have plugged away, kicked a couple of goals in this last quarter. Hawthorn have only got one behind. All of a sudden, actually, Harvey, I think, is starting to get more of the ball, and Crawford in this last minute or two of play. But certainly, it's only margin we're talking about now, not their 4 points, just how much they're defeated by.
So how do you deem who's the better player between Crawford and Robert Harvey? Would you worry about it?
Well, I don't know. I think they've been both. You've got to say they've both been okay for their teams, no doubt about that. Regardless of the fact they've been playing on each other.
I reckon Crawford's been a little bit better use, because you look at the stats. Like St Kilda have had 2 more stats than Hawthorn, and yet they're down by 61 points at three-quarter time.
I think he's carried the ball a little bit better, Crawford, I suspect, of the duel between the two. But certainly it's high possessions, isn't it? 30-odd possessions halfway through the last quarter.
Well, just in that passage of play, Shane Crawford had his 32nd touch. And, of course, Robert Harvey has had 32. So they're still neck and neck. Richard Taylor with the football. Kicks it out wide. Chance here for Aaron Lord. Just grabbed by the jumper. And umpire allows that play to go on.
It's always been an interesting theory with Robert Harvey that sometimes you hear that St Kilda are just as happy if he gets tagged, because he still normally gets his 30 possessions no matter what you do on him. And the tagging player's not going to really go and find the ball much, so you're much better off. Today you have a situation where the two of them have got a lot of the ball, so it's line ball who's been the better player. So from Hawthorn's point of view, certainly the tagging player hasn't been necessary. Harvey would have got the ball anyway, but Crawford gets 32 possessions and gives them a little bit of drive.
You certainly wouldn't tag Harvey, because he, Lee explained, he does just get the ball. His averages are 30-35 possessions, so why tag him? Yeah, so you might as well let him go. One-on-one.
Does it indicate to you that maybe St Kilda do fall away from their top 4 or 5 players? I mean, Crawford has had a lot of support around the ground. He's had a lot more players giving a little bit.
Well, certainly there's no doubt about that today. We mentioned that Nathan Burke has had a sort of pretty quiet day. Thompson's had a pretty quiet day. So, well, Harvey's had an average day, I'd say. This is about an average day for Robert Harvey. He's played, average good, not average bad. This is about what he normally plays. But a lot of his St Kilda mates have been a long way below their best form.
You've had Mitchell with 2 and 1, Sirakowski 4 and 4, the Wakeland boys down, Zilla down, Beveridge, ordinary, Knowles off the bench, Elliott, Campbell, Cook good, Cranage off the bench. So there's a lot of them with single-figure possessions. Yeah, well, Everett's been good, and Harvey's been good, but there's not too many other St Kilda players, particularly anyone who's played forward to centre, that's really been able to get involved too much. Robran trying to run onto that Hassel hand pass. Lekis, he's had terrific raps on him from the Hawthorn people this year, and it's good to see the development of a young player. Obst, Hassel, Trelevin to the danger zone, and a strong mark by Brett Cook. He was confronted by his teammate there. It may have been Elliott. Got the hand pass to Nathan Burke, back to Elliott. Elliott's high kick will land close to the wing. And not bad work there by Barker. Blocked the ball, Hassel, then Lekis, now Trelevin. Trelevin has knocked up getting the ball in the second half. His kick towards full forward. The ball spills to the back. Zilla looking for Winmar. Crawford. Well done by Winmar. Back to Zilla. Zilla down the ground.
They cannot get the ball out of this.
Obst to pump it back. They've got to get a goal, don't they? The Hawks, you'd think. No, Brown down to Jason Heatley. His kick a little too high for his intended teammate, which was McLaren. It'll go bouncing back. That was McCabe who initiated that. Good punch by Nathan Burke. McCabe again. Burke with determination. Tries to crash through. Still in the middle of the ground. McCabe might lock it up there with Knowles, and the umpire will be forced to bounce.
I suppose Stephen Zilla's done a good job on Aaron Lord after half-time. He's kept him to, he's got one extra goal after half-time. He just seems a better matchup with strength-wise and just balance and not being able to push Zilla off the ball, Aaron Lord.
He's a strong player, Zilla, isn't he?
Yeah, very hard to push off.
Obviously not tall, but yeah, pretty strong in the body.
Everett gets it down in the direction there of Burke. Justin Crawford to provide the physical presence there. Winmar. The Crawford boys at it together again. Handball by Shane over the top to Lekas. Lekas shrugs the Cranage tackle. Off to Obst. Obst into the pocket. Has put it at the feet there of Rawlings. He just couldn't quite grasp the footy. And it goes over for a boundary throw in about 40 metres around from the Hawthorn goal.
The Crawford boys have been using the same bottle, Robbo.
You don't know if they were born blonde, Couchy?
I don't think so. They've been using that lemon rinse.
Cook tries to get it down. Dixon will go in. He'll make a certainty of it now. He's kicked his second goal, Ben Dixon.
A smart, very smart play by Ben Dixon, not to panic and quickly kick the ball. Summed up his options beautiful. The St Kilda players are going for the smother. Decided to hold on to the ball a little bit longer, give himself some more space, go to the left, and a great left foot snap.
It was nice, this wasn't it, when he feinted this kick here.
Beautiful.
And Elliott went up in the air, round he went. And he ran to the front of the goal square, that's important. And once you get to the front of the goal square, goals are open, makes it a very easy shot.
And that's what you need, a smart half forward like he's been today.
8 goal kickers for Hawthorn, only 4 goal kickers for the Saints. Nathan Burke to a full forward, well done by Heatley. May have just strained a bit of a muscle there as he took that mark. It looked as though he grimaced a little, but he's marked and going for goal number 3, Jason Heatley.
It looks like he came across a boat when Captain Cook was the convict look there, Robbo.
One of the few times that they've been able to. Everett did it a few times early, but there hasn't too many times St Kilda forwards have got clear.
Well, that lazy approach of Jason Heatley that we've become accustomed to.
He's signaling to the bench, Robbo, either an ankle or a knee, or it might have been a quad.
Might be a thigh.
Well, that would be bad news if it's a left quad muscle. He certainly had his hand on the left thigh at one point.
Kick in for the Hawks. McCabe gathers at right half back. One bounce and then kicks along the line. Wakelin in front there of Dixon, prepared to take it over. That, of course, is Shane Wakelin, number 12. Darryl Wakelin, number 15.
And the thighs are not easy to get over. Some people can take 8 weeks, it can take 4 weeks. It's a very hard muscle to get over. Like I've seen blokes miss 10 weeks with a thigh, and coming up to the finals, St Kilda don't need that, especially when they're goal kicking forward. They're hard to come by in this competition. And
what's happened here? Oh, there's a blood rule as well. Crumble is being sent off, I think.
Yep. Well,
and I think Darryl Wakelin as well, because he's got blood on his jumper. That's the thing about this blood rule. It's one thing in league football where they've probably got 2 or 3 spare sets of Guernseys should you have blood on the Guernseys. At the lower levels, it's not as simple as that, is there? There is not a whole lot of jumpers waiting to be changed.
How do you rate Treleaven? 19 kicks and 8 hand passes, just gone off the ground.
Just unassuming, isn't he?
Well, I think I think he's been good today. He and Brown have had a duel, probably similar numbers, but I would have thought Treleaven's probably been a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. Just their midfield's been a lot better, Hawthorn, and they're tackling and chasing, and it's been more desperation, certainly.
Well, I think that if you're a supporter of a St Kilda side, you're looking for them maybe to finish off with a couple of goals in the last 6 minutes of this game. They've only been able to kick 9 goals in the match so far as we look at the Hawthorn bench. The player in the background there, Tony Woods on Nathan Burke, was very disciplined today.
Very important job in that first half when the match-winning lead was originally set up. Everett
down to the front. And you can see the team that's in front. They're after the footy, aren't they? Those Hawthorn boys.
He has to be kicked from
you can't.
He just knocked it out of bounds. He didn't want the ball. He said, I'll just knock it out of bounds. We're far enough in front. You can't do that.
He thought it was ruck work. He's practicing his ruck work at training.
Well, he was palming to the boundary umpire if that was the case.
Well, I'm sure that Justin Crawford has got a couple of fans if he wants to become a bit of an amusement parlour owner with Lee Matthews and Paul Campbell. There's something funny about that.
Like, you just can't believe it, though, can you? Like, it just very nonchalant knocked it over the boundary line. Straight over. I've had enough.
Well, 5.5 minutes left in this game. Peter Everett there in picture, allowing David Sirakowski to do the ruck work. Johnny Hassel going nowhere there. Looks like McCabe is it, tackled by Knowles. And Heatley may have done a hamstring, is it?
It's his knee.
No, it's
his
thigh.
knee that's knee's being bandaged by the look of it, or very low in the thigh, one or the other.
Very low in the thigh.
That be hamstring?
Another blood rule going on there. No, actually, it looked like the ice was on the front, so it looked like either lower thigh, or it might have even been his knee. So it didn't. Not if it was his knee, I don't think he did that much damage, but certainly looked like the ice was on the front rather than the
another
bottom.
blood rule.
They're going off like yo-yos. Here comes in.
I'm going home. Straight up the road.
John Barker's coming off as well.
It was Knowles that came off
the bench
ground.
can't keep up with these blokes going on and off.
Another blood, like, it's becoming a farce, isn't it? Like, where can you see the blood on him?
Well, Trelevin back on the ground.
A little bit on his knee.
Trelevin back on the ground for Barker.
There's another blood.
Oh, there's Sirakowski's coming off too.
No, he's wrong.
Yes, it
Got
is.
no idea who's on and off. There's been about 10 interchanges in about the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, our guy down on the boundary line would be busy if he was noting this. Well, the umpire's found a free kick here, and it might go to, is it Darryl Wakeland? Going to take the free kick. The player on the mark is about 45 metres from goal. It'll take a good kick because we thought the breeze may be coming from his right across the face of goal. So kicking across the breeze and a little bit into it. Let's see what Darryl Wakeland can make of this. He could become St Kilda's 5th goal kicker for the day. And you can see the breeze take it right away to the left. Scores are behind. So St Kilda, you mentioned, Lee, this is their 3rd defeat in a row and their 2nd bad one.
Well, a second bad one, that's the most important. They just got beaten by 3 points by Essendon 3 weeks ago, but thrashed by the Crows last week, and a lot less scoring shots. The Crows, I think, had 42 scoring shots to 17, so that's a big loss. And today they've got beaten by, 8 goals, 5, so we're talking 13 scoring shots. So, yeah, 2 very big defeats.
Kick forward and knocked away by Trelevin, but gathered by Cranage. He might get that goal. No.
I think Andrew Thompson might have been on short, but ball kicked straight back over his head.
So out of bounds on the full, and the free kick for the Hawks to be taken by Hassel. Hassel with 4 minutes left in the game.
He's been pretty good too for Johnny Hassel today. Can make the odd mistake, Johnny, if things aren't going well, but his job on Andrew Thompson, he's got about the same amount of the ball as Thompson. I think he's been pretty good. He always gives the team a little bit of run because he's a quick running player.
Sometimes his decision making is not right there, Lee, is it? But certainly been good today. He does a good stopping job, and probably that's his best role.
No nastiness there between those two players. They've been tremendous opponents all day, Robert Harvey and Shane Crawford. Nick Holland doing the ruck work up against the big spider. Kicked away by Justin Crawford. The awkward bouncing ball has forced young Obst over the line with Nicky Winmar for a boundary throw-in. Daniel Chick giving the youngster a just pat of encouragement there on centre wing. Obst has come off the bench and had 12 possessions, so he'd be reasonably satisfied with his game today after coming on, I think, late in the first term or early in the second quarter.
He's just joined in what has been a very good Hawthorn win. Struggled all year, of course, but won the last 2 games against 2 finalists. Richmond, they've knocked Richmond from top 4 down towards the bottom of the 8 last week. And quite possibly St Kilda will drop out of the top 4 after this weekend's round of games as well.
Kick forward there by Everett. Swooping on it as Campbell. Good kick too. He's kicked the goal for St Kilda. Brad Campbell, his first goal.
They've been much better, St Kilda, when the pressure went off the game, to be honest, haven't they? Certainly Hawthorn in that first half, first three quarters, a very one-on-one approach all over the ground. But as the game has just, the spaces open up more late in games, and when this has happened, St Kilda have just been a little bit better. It's been the best part of their game, at least. Hawthorn haven't been able to score much in this last half. Maybe simply they've worked so hard, Hawthorn, early in the game to set up the lead, just get a bit tired in the latter stages, but certainly St Kilda have been a little better in this final term.
Well, they did the job, the Hawks, in the second quarter. They kicked 7 goals 4 to 1 goal 1 and led by 33 points at half-time. And since then, they've just done what they've had to do. Jade Rawlings came on in the third quarter and kicked 2 goals. He now marks and kicks it into the pocket where Brad Lloyd is going to get a chance. He's been on the bench for, well, pretty well all the game. Now the umpire calling to play on. And what's he done? I tell you what, he's kicked the goal of the day. Late in the game. What a great kick. Check side punt kick by Brad Lloyd. Kicks Hawthorn's 18th goal.
Yeah, he worked his way into trouble, actually. He was looking to pass the ball back off inside, but then the umpire called play on. He thought, well, all I can do, I'm pointing in, but I've got to kick to my right-hand side. So the offside banana kick was what he went for, and the breeze cooled it back. Good finish, nice goal.
Well, his opportunities this year haven't been all that great, Brad Lloyd, but late in the game, he's kicked his first goal for the Hawks. And importantly, they're 18th. They go marching on as Nick Holland kicks them forward. Wakeland, now Tim Elliott, kicks it out wide. Burke is on the end of that. Straightens up and tries to get back onto his right. Succeeds in doing so. Kicks it in towards centre half forward. Big Spider, nearly beaten for it. By gee, that was a good effort by Barker. But Everett back in there. Handball away. Lloyd, tackled by Mitchell. Still Lloyd underneath. And going in Justin Crawford. But the umpire decides on a bounce. Centre half forward for the Saints. 2 minutes left. I think St Kilda would be happy to walk away from this. It's been a pretty ordinary performance when you consider that with 3 rounds to go after this, they certainly were looking for a victory.
It's not the time of the year where you want 3 losses. You're going into the finals all of a sudden with half a dozen games to go. They were hoping to finish on top, but now they're really got a lot of work cut out. They've got a pretty good run home in terms of who they play. I think they play Brisbane and Carlton, so they play the teams who are currently 13th and 14th as well. But they played the 16th team today and they're going to lose it, so if you don't play well, they can all beat you.
See, while you were talking then, Richard Taylor did a good job, didn't he, to try and just extricate himself from the full-back line.
Worked hard, haven't they? I mean, St Kilda normally look a very quick team, but today they've had no look of speed about their team. It's where we've said Jason Cripps and Aussie Jones, just to mention 2 players who can cover the ground. One's out injured, one's out because his form's been off it, but all of a sudden you look at the St Kilda team and they don't look quick. They really look cumbersome.
Lekas gets the ball towards full forward. Aaron Lord looking for his 7th goal. Kicked away by Tim Elliott. Just outside the defensive 50. Obst, hand pass just smothered there and forced over for a throw in about 55 metres around from the Hawthorn goal. There's a little bit of the crowd. I guess a lot of the St Kilda fans would have left. There were just over 32,000 people here today. And Robran and Winmar, is that against Winmar?
He's got paid the shepherd.
He's just had an average day. Nicky Winmar, he's had 23 possessions, but he's been hunted and chased around this ground. Holland's kick is marked by Dixon. Well, he'll finish it off, won't he? With 30 seconds left, he's kicked 2 goals. And if he kicks truly here, the Hawks' 19th goal, it'll make the margin something like 59 points.
It's been a good effort by Hawthorn. I thought before the game started their best chance was to keep to a low-scoring game. I think only the optimists would have thought they could kick 19 goals. Keeping St Kilda 10, well, that would have been the aim. Well, they've kept St Kilda 10, that's fine, but 19 goals, it's a winning effort.
Well, this young fella kicked 4 behinds before he kicked his 3rd goal right on the siren. 3 goals to Ben Dixon in a goal-scoring spree for the Hawks. They came here as very much the underdog. He just greets Shane Crawford, who probably could nearly be classified as best on the ground. 33 possessions to Shane Crawford, playing on Robert Harvey in the middle of the ground. 32 possessions to Harvey. Aaron Lord kicked 6 goals. Nick Holland kicked 3, along with Ben Dixon. Jade Rawlings kicked 2. And for St Kilda, 3 goals to Peter Everett. 2 each to David Sirakowski, Jason Heagley and Brett Cook. It was a big win for the Hawks. A huge win for the Hawks. 19-14, 128 to 10-9-69.
Yeah, big win. They certainly got home against Richmond last week because they only kicked 10 but kicked Richmond to 4, so it was a low-scoring game. So today this was a very good team, the way they played the game. Forget their 16th on the ladder. They only had 4 wins prior to today. Today they played a very good game of football. They kicked it off early when Aaron Lord just got them going in that first term, but really the second term, wasn't it, Robbo, when they kicked 7 goals 4. That's when they really got the break, and it was a very good performance. Holland was good. Lord kicked another couple. Certainly, we spoke about it many times, the Crawford-Harvey duel around the midfield. One-on-one approach. They certainly shut down the St Kilda forward line, and as we speak, they just going around the ground, the Waverley ground a little bit to acknowledge their fans who've come out today in good numbers. Plenty of round and goal around the ground. And the St Kilda players, they leave the ground. Well, all of a sudden their season is on the line. They've got the 12 wins up, so they'll play finals, but all of a sudden they're looking like limping into September, unless in the next 2 or 3 games they can very much turn around what's been a very bad last couple of games.
Funny old game, this AFL footy, isn't it? I mean, you talk about the last team on the ladder, not just winning, but winning by 50, nearly 10 goals.
Absolutely thrashing them. So
the AFL officials would be happy with that, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, well the evenness. I mean, competition's all about evenness, isn't it? That's what the contest's all about. And certainly Carlton have had their run over the last month, and they've been good lower in the ladder. Brisbane, I guess, at the moment are struggling a little bit, but certainly Hawthorn at the moment, having winning their last 2 games, all of a sudden are looking quite good as they get into the last 3 rounds, and they've won this game comfortably, 19-14 to 128 to St Kilda, 10-9-69.